Welcome to the SativaCross.com podcast, coming to you live from Trenton, New Jersey, every Thursday, out in front of Governor Christie's office. Good morning, Jim Miller.
Good morning, Mr. Lefty Grimes.
How are you?
By my standards, I'm doing pretty damn good. Actually, by normal standards, I'm not doing bad either. I got my bar set low. I like having good days. It's been a good week, though.
It was a very good week.
Yeah, normally we go fishing for news or something comes up. But last week, the big news was that the post-traumatic stress medical marijuana bill, adding post-traumatic stress to the list of acceptable indications for medical marijuana, finally got put up for a vote on the floor. That's as far as the bill's ever gone once it got out of committee. And before we could say boo, it passed. So we have this bill sitting on the governor's desk as we speak. I don't know that it's literally on the desk. It's probably in a, drawer, an AIDS drawer or something. But this is, everybody wants to figure out what's going to happen next, and that there isn't a lot we can do at this point. The concern is more narrowly focused now than it's ever been before. We want the governor to sign it. We'd like him to sign it without modifications. However,
I mean, besides the coffee stains and the jelly donut stains.
That was probably somebody else's fault.
Of course.
He, I think he's going to sign it. I don't see where even he would have any rationale for vetoing it. Why don't we just give him a hammer and let him hit himself in the knee or something? I mean, because he's crippling his future of public service if he gets on the wrong side of this issue. And you know what people got to be aware of? I mean, he can say no or want to change it for whatever reason, but history is going to be written real soon. The tests that everybody says need to be done that were blocked are being unblocked now. And then down the road, not that far down the road, it's going to be known that this is very good for post-traumatic stress. And the detriments are incredibly small compared to other medications they're taking right now. So to be on the wrong side now makes one culpable in the misery that was not prevented. So he better tread lightly, because at some point veterans are going to actually say we've had enough and start showing up. What do you think's going to happen? Everybody's saying, why don't we have a round of that? Think Wayne Barini was telling us the truth?
Yeah, I think the governor is going to sign this bill. I really do.
I do too. I think I wouldn't be totally surprised if he made a modification and sent it back. None of what he would put into it to modify it would help it.
Like what?
Well, like it may be that there needs some sort of verification that they've tried at least 2 other kinds of therapy or something, Or
a psychiatrist. You have to have a psychiatrist. How about that? Let's add a psychiatrist to the mix, just to gum it up a little bit.
Yeah, why not?
Give these vets a few more hoops to jump through. Hey, Leo, you want some hoops to jump through? Here, let's add a few more modifications to the bill.
That's very likely to happen. Now, that's better than a veto, but we got to sit pretty tight on wanting to see the math on that. If that happens, because I also say this. That this is the first time we've come close to adding an actual new indication. And we got to keep something in mind. There are indications that have been on all along, and we've never been allowed to know what verification for MS was needed to put it on the original list. What about cancer or AIDS or glaucoma? What did they use that was okay then, and what are they demanding for proof now? And I say that there should not be additional hurdles placed on patients who weren't fortunate enough to be recognized the first time around. That's bad enough. That they've been kept out of the program is bad enough. That's penalty enough. That maybe we should start taking all the close cases and saying, temporarily this is in, but this can be revoked if we find out that it does cause harm or it doesn't work or whatever. I'm tired of patients being the one to wait And maybe if somebody who didn't want improvements was in charge of testing, it's like I've always said, if you don't think it's good for it, you got to champion tests being done like we do. We got to hold hands and say, let's, while we're talking, get tests done that'll show whatever decision we made would have been the right one or not. Not wait to make a decision. Okay, what happens? You're actually in an altercation. Maybe there's about to be a fight with somebody. I can't sit here and go, how should I go about this while there's a fist coming at my face? You have to make your best guess right then and sort at the end. And right now, you could make a case that every other day and more a veteran in New Jersey will suicide. And
it'll be 5 by Saturday.
Yeah, it you know, and you never know. Some weeks it's more, some weeks we might actually get through without that happening, but statistically averaging it out, this is where we are in New Jersey. And I don't know. I don't think it should take long, though. The only answer I've seen now, the first time somebody asked our governor about this after it got to his desk, was, I don't know what I'm going to do. I will read the bill. I will either then veto it, send it back, or sign it. Or sign it, send it back, or veto it. So basically his only answer has been to define his job description at this point in the process of a bill becoming law, you know. He might have been even reading, you know, what his choices are right off the box, you know.
Wow. So he probably was saying, please don't let this go through. Please don't let this go through. I don't want to deal with this.
Let's look self-preservation for him and his party in New Jersey at this point, for crying out loud. Where's the downside? Who's going to oppose him signing? Who's going to vocally stand up and say boo about that? Nobody that I can think of. Okay, the New Jersey Psychiatrists Association could say something about it, and he could say, I'm not going to listen to you till you've sat down and talked one-on-one to Ken Wolski of the Coalition for Medical Marijuana. Next case. Now we're getting not an upper hand, but close to an equal hand right now. Do you feel that?
First of all, hey fellas, how y'all doing?
Pretty damn good, you know.
Today it seems, you know,
we're
the
hopeful.
sun is a little brighter today.
Yeah, it's we have a dream.
Yeah. How appropriate a statement.
Yeah.
How appropriate a statement considering what all the, you know, the news.
Well, that's what we got now. We have hope. The legislature did its job. They didn't wait for the review panel. They did their job that they kind of let fall through the cracks last year. And I got to say, you know, as far as making amends go, couldn't ask for more. This is lightning pace in legislative terms at this time in a 2-year session.
Yes.
To have something on his desk.
Yes.
Going to take a quick break. Technical difficulties. We'll be right back in about 1 minute, if you can hear us.
What is it, Wi-Fi?
I thought we were going to go take a break. I was getting excited.
I thought so too. I was like, already?
Welcome back to the SativaCross.com podcast.
Are we on?
I believe we're on. Let's find out. God, here we go. I love technical problems. I don't know, I'm trying to eat and multitask here.
Yeah.
Having fun.
I'm going to have a new phone, an actual Android. Maybe next week I'll be able to help out with stuff somehow. I don't know. I can't do it with the phone I got now unless you need me to text you while I'm here. I learned how to do that.
Like not so connected.
Yeah, at times, yeah. You know, I remember what it was like to, say, drive to Florida by yourself. You were in your own world. Nobody knew where you were unless you stopped, found a payphone, and called them. You know, they couldn't get a hold of you. If you had a flat tire, deal with it. Something happened, deal with it. You know, road rage, deal with it.
Right.
You know.
Well,
now it's sort of like, I don't think somebody goes on a drive anywhere longer than an hour without checking shit out. Stuff. not shit. Oh, damn it.
Hey,
Stuff.
hey.
That's an example of what not to do. I'm not sure you picked it up the first time. I didn't
We're
want to let it
supposed to be
slide.
wholesome here.
We are. So anyway, it is. We've spent so much energy trying to get this bill to the governor's desk. It's sort of like I'm looking around with what's next, what's going on.
I was just thinking the same thing. What do we do now?
Well, it's got to obviously be pressure on the governor, but the thing about pressure on the governor is it doesn't work for the purpose intended. It's not like we're going to change his mind or bolster his opinion on anything. What it does do is it gives him political cover. The more we are public advocating for him to sign it, the more the general public sees the pressure and hopes he will do so also.
I saw a poll a couple of days ago, and it was in response to, the bill passing and going to the governor's desk, and the poll was asking New Jerseyans, do they think that PTSD should be added to the list of qualifying conditions for the state program, and at that point when I voted, at that point it was overwhelmingly yes, and so it goes to show that when it comes to the populace, they're all for it. Particularly when you're talking about looking at the veteran suicide rate, and when I first started visiting the podcast, I made a statement that first day, and I said there's a line that most New Jerseyans just don't cross when it comes to veterans. Disrespect and not having access to all that we need in order to cope with what all we have been through. And so seeing the results of that poll, sort of kind of backed up that statement, in my opinion.
True that. I have something that I may make a half-hearted attempt to bring to the governor's office when I go pick up the permit, whenever that may be, and I'm only going to read it so that we can get what you should say and what you should have said. It's you have to have something, in other words, to hand him. Anybody could hand it to him. But the short of it is, and the lack of editorializing and saying it is this, simply. If, and then when, in parentheses with a question mark, if you sign the PTSD medical marijuana bill, S2345/A457, if you sign into law, would you please consider doing it in the presence of a couple of veterans who have spoken in favor at committee hearings on this issue? As you may be aware, the Coalition for Medical Marijuana sponsors a weekly Thursday podcast at the steps of the State House. The Sativa Cross podcast has been largely about adding PTSD to the list of acceptable indications for getting a medical marijuana registration card in New Jersey. I would appreciate a chance to talk with members of your staff about why this bill should be signed. CMMJ has informational resources that you do not, and I know that you want to be fully informed before making a decision. You, of course, have a standing invitation to visit our Thursday podcast at your convenience. Please consider signing this bill into law there. Think about that. What would public perception be to a bold move like that? Thank you for being a good sport about our continued podcasts, totaling 51 to date since April 9th, 2015, and signed. Just something to say, come on out.
Governor Christie, come out and play.
Well,
so let me ask you,
ask
Jim
away.
and Philippe and Lefty, what's been the fallout since Monday for you guys?
Anybody?
Fallout, meaning we was having this conversation earlier.
Yeah.
Meaning that we was there all day, and
Some of us were. Some of us left early.
Well, the people that left early, I'm not gonna say no names, Mr. Miller.
Me.
and the people that stayed. I'm not gonna say
You.
no name.
And
Dume and
Leo.
Mr. Bridgewater.
And Leo.
We didn't know anything.
Yeah.
Oh, right, yeah.
We
yeah.
didn't know anything. When I was on the way back to Newark, I was on the train when I got the phone call. I'm sitting right there,
Yeah.
and after that, I have mad people looking at me. I'm sitting right there like, yo, why are you looking at me? I just want to be like, yo, stop looking at me. Like, do I have a booger in my nose? Like, and after that, and I didn't even know. But when I got the phone call from Leo, I'm like, nah, get out of here. We just made the news. He was like, yeah, man, they passed the bill.
Yeah, I called Leo to see what the story was, and Leo's like, no, it didn't work. We're all dejected. We're going home. I'm like, what? No, I got news for you. Here, listen to this.
We literally stayed till almost 6 o'clock.
Yeah, no,
We stayed till almost 6 o'clock.
Actually, it was
Wow.
6:35 when we left.
And they made it look
Wow.
like they weren't going to sign it, huh?
Nah,
Well,
they made it look like they weren't going to say.
where we were standing, first of all, we were in the assembly room, and then they had this thing where they were about to start voting, and then they got to this one bill, and they said we need a 20-minute recess. They said we needed a 20-minute recess, and so that 20 minutes turned into like almost 2 hours.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah,
They
that's
have
typical.
Different clocks than
So
us.
and at that point, we had already been told that the indication was that it was not going to be voted on that night.
Who told you that?
Jim.
Well,
So-
who told me that?
Who told you that?
Senator Scutari walked by me, and I said hi. And he didn't really break pace. He was going by.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, so is this going to happen today or what? And he goes, doesn't look like it. So,
Yeah.
what does doesn't look like it mean?
Who told him that?
I don't know.
But
Maybe he was like being a better version of W.C. Fields. Go away, kid, you bother me.
It was a blowout. It was 29-9. It wasn't even close.
It's a veto-proof
thing
majority,
is
by the
that-
way.
Come on, man.
Yeah, the thing is that recess that they went on, that they took, at one point, Phil and I were like, well, let's just go downstairs, where you were. And so we were standing in front of the doors that the senators take to get into the
Yeah, that's
assembly
where
room.
Phil and me were hanging out all day.
So
That's a good spot.
yeah, we were standing there, and I'm seeing people coming in and out. The senators were in there talking to each other. They were still on break, on a recess. And Phil and I were making jokes, like, oh yeah, 20 minutes, huh? Yeah, hour later, and then oh wait a minute, 20 minutes, yeah, hour and a half later. So, Phil and I decided, okay, look, man, looks like it's not going to happen. So, we decided to leave. And
Suckers.
Put our head down.
Quitters.
Yeah,
You guys
sure
quit.
Did. Yeah, we did. Because, and mind you, we were totally outnumbered, by 10,000% from that one group that was here to get their bill passed. The
CR 52.
Yeah, the union.
The union for the.
They were
Yeah,
angry,
and
too.
they were kicking people out because
Yes.
they were breaking the fire code.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So they so
Oh.
Phil and Jim got kicked out.
Well, I volunteered.
He
Okay.
volunteered. I got kicked out.
And so it was just me and Ken Wolski, and then Ken left, and it was just me, and then I was like, okay, and I went downstairs with Phil and Jim, and next thing you know,
Thank you.
it goes through. So we're just like, but we left here dejected a bit, and so when I got home,
You sounded it on the phone.
yeah, man, look, man, I was rolling one up when you called. And I'm like, when I see your name, I'm like,
Now I got to hear shit from Lefty.
No,
Oh, God.
in all honesty, in my head, I was like, I got to deliver this news to Lefty. Damn. Because earlier that day, we were at Ken Wolski's house, and I said, has anyone gotten in touch with Lefty? Is Lefty looking for any information? Is he waiting on something?
Yes, I was.
And Jim said, no, Lefty hasn't talked to me. And I was like, I haven't heard from him either. And then Ken went and looked to see if you had put anything out. And Ken said, nah, Lefty hasn't said anything. So I said, okay, And then I get the phone call from you.
I got my own sources, man.
Hey, listen, leave it to Lefty. He didn't even have to be here to get that info, And so you call me and you're like, no. And I'm like, what do you mean, no? It went through 29. I'm like, what?
29 to 9.
Wait a minute.
I was there all
We
day.
were out there all day. Like, what the?
When did they do that?
Yeah, people came out, walked right past us. No one said a thing. And so again, me and Phil left here dejected. We were like, damn.
We were sad.
Yeah, we were like, oh, how
We were
long?
sad.
And I'm because the number one question in my head was, how much longer are we going to have to wait, and
Yeah.
how many more are going to have to die in between?
Yeah.
Getting to this point. That's all I kept thinking. That's what was
I
behind
thought,
my
I thought it
deduction.
was going to be pulled and not voted on the way Senator Scutari replied to
Right.
my inquiry. So I was kind of surprised, but then hearing 29-9,
Yeah, that
27 vote.
What were your numbers?
Mine were 23-13.
And 4?
yeah.
Yeah.
23, 13, and 4.
13, that was mine.
Yeah.
Which
We
I was
talked about
being
that
told
earlier
was
today.
way too optimistic. I wasn't optimistic enough.
Well, it may and when you look at the number, when you look at 29 and 9, and then you ask yourself, well, what was the parameters used to add AIDS, cancer, the whole 9 yards?
Yeah.
And then you ask yourself, okay, what are the parameters that's being used when it comes to the thought process with cannabis? So you say, okay, those who voted against last time somehow or another evolved enough or got a hold of enough information to convince them otherwise.
Yeah, that would be on the surface true in most cases. For some, it might be the Christie's bullying effect in the sphere of his bullyocracy. Oh, I like that. His bullyocracy
Bullyocracy.
isn't going to reach people so much in the last year of his governorship because they're already looking at the next year themselves. They have re-elections every 2 years in the Assembly, every 4 years in the Senate. So when there's the next gubernatorial election, they're going to have to maybe be called on to say, what do you think of the governor's votes in these situations, and then how you vote on any further improvements.
Mm-hmm.
So, I feel actually we have a little leverage this year.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we
And-
talked about that earlier in the day. The whole day, we kept talking about how, how it just felt things were lining up in such a way that it was going to produce a favorable outcome for us.
Yeah, I think so. Still.
And then when you look at, the phone calls we received and, the attention that we now have, for me, as in terms of the fallout, I was contacted by a friend of mine's, Mr. Tom O'Neill in Florida, who's a veteran, a Marine veteran. Turns out he and I served in Baghdad around the same time. I actually used some of his equipment, and we didn't know it, so he's organizing a walk from the Trenton Barracks to the Princeton the battlefield in Princeton, to commemorate the Battle of Trenton and the African American patriots.
That's a pretty good walk.
Yeah, it's 12 miles,
Yeah.
but it's to commemorate the Battle of Trenton and also the African American patriots or soldiers who participated in that battle. And he's also an advocate for cannabis, and actually was part of the change, and a big part of the change in Florida, getting the law changed. And so a native of oh, okay. He's responsible for having done it. He had over 10,000 signatures on his petition, and he basically got the laws changed. But he's a native Trentonian, born and raised and he graduated from Lawrence High.
No, I don't want to have anything between us and
His-
them hanging here. Where you're hanging. Always if it's for a ceremony or something. What are we doing with the shirts? We got a ceremony coming up.
Yes, we're actually going to continue our Don't Shoot movement. So me and the veteran next to my right, a.k.a. Leo, we're going to put on a shirt. And at
Yeah.
that, we're going to say, don't shoot, I'm a veteran. To
Whatever the
stop
biggest
all
one
this
you got.
killing.
Cool.
Because all lives matter.
He has
Yeah.
6X.
All right,
Don't shoot movement.
Oh, I don't need that.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was like, you don't need 6X.
Yeah, that'll work.
buddy. Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
like,
And we're
Oh,
definitely going to
yeah.
be taking some pictures with our Do Not Shoot, I'm a Veteran shirt
Yeah.
on. Because we are vets, and I'm tired of seeing cops And I'm tired of veterans, and I'm tired of seeing cops
Thank
killing
you,
each other.
Lefty.
Because we are brothers.
Wow. Yeah, boy.
Kids too.
That's me, baby.
Jim, I got one for you.
That's me, baby.
Uh-oh.
I got one for Jim Miller.
And
What's
Jim
Jim
Miller gets
says?
one too.
What does it say?
Here you go, Jim.
You gotta wear it, Jim.
No, this is like, wait, I can't put this on. No, I can't fit into something like this.
Too small?
Because I look like I'm going back to my trailer when I'm done.
Oh man, no.
No, it's
There's-
too small. Look,
There's a medium.
I'll
There's definitely a medium.
I'll put it on. I'm gonna do this. That's it.
Like a
That's
bib.
good, man.
Like a
You,
bib.
you don't want me to be somebody, be talked into something I'm not gonna do, right? All right. Well, stop trying. Is it?
Might wear this on my walk from the old barracks to.
Oh no,
Princeton.
yeah, of course. But we're definitely
Yeah.
we'd definitely like to take a picture on today, and after I have that go
Yeah,
viral.
yeah,
We're gonna take some pictures,
yeah.
some flicks in front of the state
Yeah,
house.
and for everybody else, there's hashtag legal for PTSD. Go check it out. That's for you guys. It's for all
Hashtag
us
legal for
veterans
PTSD.
and getting cannabis, PTSD legalized.
Let's see how unpopular I can be with this. When the reporter, should she come out and want to do like video work, I wanted the main focus to be on PTSD. The shirts are hanging there and all. That's going to be all right. But it's the tie-in here is one degree of separation, but it's the right degree. Don't shoot, I'm a veteran, and we're here trying to get PTSD to not shoot metaphorically. You know what I'm saying? It's the veteran is the issue that's spearheading us to getting post-traumatic stress in.
Mm-hmm.
So to make the tie in there,
Mm-hmm.
But basically, I'm looking at whatever brief little play they might give it. I want to make sure people understand. We got to ram it down their throats that this needs to be signed, and the ramifications of it not being signed, and where we are historically.
Yeah, you know what? It validates this entire argument that's been made since April of last year. That you guys, think about this. Like I noticed the people who walk by, they snicker. Some snicker.
Got any samples?
You got any samples? Yeah. And they think it's funny, and they think it's the ridicule.
Yeah.
All of that stuff, and turn around and look what happens. And to me, it just validates the entire argument. And what's even more memorable for me personally is my oldest boy was here to see this happen. This is because this is something that I don't hide from him. Because the moment I start trying to hide things, when you hide things from your kids, then it makes it okay to do it. And then you wonder why your kids, our kids are a direct reflection of ourselves. And so for my son to witness his father testifying before the, Senate committee, on adding PTSD, and for my son to sit down and meet the men that I've been working with and to see what it looks like when grown adult men talk to each other, and to learn, hey, you want to change a law? This is how you do it. You want to affect change? You want to make a difference in your community? This is the way you do it. And it's, particularly in the voting booth too. Until your issues are heard and this is the way it has to be done, unfortunately. But fortunately, we have a system that allows for this to happen. Freedom of speech, freedom of press. You understand what I'm saying? And so it's just for me, it's just, I'm just very proud that, my son was able to see that. He got one heck of a civic lesson this summer, wouldn't you say? And Monday was his first day of school. So I can imagine what he's telling his classmates right now.
What do you do on summer vacation?
My daddy's a badass. Guess what we did this summer?
Yeah, there's video too.
There are different ways to fight.
Yeah. And this is again, like we this is me practicing what I've been preaching to him, and also putting into practice what's been, what I'm doing in terms of, how am I going to make this happen? How am I going to, I got Laurel Hardy right here.
Which one am I?
I think he was talking to you.
The troublemaker. You were both of them.
It can't be both of them. I'm sorry. I accidentally pulled some tape and it made a sound. And our Lefty, as our producer,
This
at
is Jim
point-
while you're talking.
Rude.
Yeah, but see, I'm getting old, so when he said that, I had to turn back and do it once on purpose, and then, that became Laurel or Hardy.
And hence why the shirt
Hence the
is
shirt.
so appropriate right now.
I might go put a different shirt on and come back, and I'll start over.
Yeah, he'll be looking like it too.
I have a
Good
shirt.
call there, Lefty. Good call, brother. Good call. With that shirt.
The only one
So-
left.
Oh wow.
You're not Haitian. You're not a veteran.
Yep.
You're butthurt, though.
Your butt hurt.
Yeah. That's why I'm here, I'm butthurt on behalf of lots of butts.
Oh, that's cold.
Wow.
That's cold blooded.
And we're
Damn.
going to continue being butthurt until they finish passing all these laws on
Yeah.
medicinal marijuana.
You're damn right.
So now the State Medicinal Marijuana Review Board is accepting submissions
Oh, I
to
hate
have
that. Oh, Jesus.
to have the
Don't get me started on this
program.
shit again, Leo.
Yeah,
What's going to
man.
start it? That's what we're here for, to get people started.
The question was asked, what's next?
Yeah. Well, no, this is going on all through the month. They're going to have their submissions made during the month
Yep.
of August. Then it's going to be closed for up to a year, or this time next year. So we would be led to believe. Then they're going to consider, but it's the behind closed doors consideration that has me worried. There also will be a public comment hearing before they consider, after August, sometime maybe September, October. There'll be public comments which they will not respond to. They'll basically pretend like they're looking, nod their heads, but if you ask them what I just say, they'd have to say, "Oh, we're not here to interact."
Read that back. Read that back.
So anyway, this has happened before. They had public comment 7 years ago, maybe, and not one comment was followed or dealt with at all. Thing is, we don't know what their considerations are going to involve, especially compared to what considerations there were for the original indications getting into the bill. So, I mean, how are they going to know how to go about this if they don't know what legislators did to have MS, cancer, glaucoma, AIDS, intractable musculoskeletal spasticity, all these
Right.
things? What did they go through? Where's the paperwork on them? Because it shouldn't surpass any of the originals. It shouldn't be harder now. It shouldn't be a new set of criteria. That has to be considered, but we're not privy to those processes.
Yeah, that's
we
the
don't
behind
know.
closed door.
We don't know what's
process.
used. This is why I always thought I don't see the harm in having somebody like Ken Wolski on the review panel and taking part in the meetings. And so we know that certain things are being considered.
I want to testify. How do I go about doing that?
Find out
Public
what
hearing?
committee. Yep.
Yeah.
Just know what day it is and then go write your name on a piece of paper and they'll call
I
you up.
thought I have to have my doctor write a note. I read that somewhere. Does my doctor have to write a note?
A note
So
for you to
For
testify?
me to testify about
No.
this disease?
No.
Where did I see that?
Probably on their website that's designed to keep people from testifying.
It's just that stuff makes me crazy, and I'm like, what? I need a doctor's note to go write maybe to write a letter. Do I have to write a
Yeah.
letter first before I testify? Maybe.
No.
I think the people that testified originally should have to come back and testify again and say, well, I remember doing this before a panel of the health department
Yeah.
6 years ago, and nothing was done. So,
Why don't you say that? Why don't you testify? You say that, and I'll bring my dartboard and throw darts at it and say, here, pick a
Yeah.
disease. Here's how I pick a disease.
There you go. Yeah. What do you got?
I didn't have, like, when I addressed the review panel, I just wrote my name on the piece of paper that was in the room
Okay.
and spoke to them.
That's all that's going to
Yeah,
be.
and
Same
and,
process.
and the thing is we watched them, after I right before I addressed them, we watched them pick their new president, and the different seats and stuff like that that the members were going to be holding, and then and listen to them all introduce themselves, and afterwards, all of them, right, Ken? I mean, Jim, all of them walked up to me and thanked me for my service and assured me that that none of the things that I had said had fallen on deaf ears,
Yeah.
and that they were serious about what it is that the task laid before them.
I don't know if you remember my particular testimony, but I started out by acknowledging that Dr. Arturo Brito, the Deputy Commissioner of Health, was sitting on the panel. And I said that we did have a lengthy meeting with him and John Schwarzenberg, the policy advisor on healthcare issues, and Gene Ashmore, public relations, and not one thing we brought to your attention was implemented or dealt with. So I hope we do a little better this time. Now that's the way to start testimony, doing a little backhand slap from the last time we got ignored, and then let's begin again.
You go first, Jim. You go first.
I go first.
You go first. You say that. You start us off.
Well, when we're
start,
doing that,
they won't be listening now.
I will
us
roundly
off.
get up and make sure everybody understands that we've been through this process and what it produced last time.
Nothing.
And
Nada.
so I don't care what
Squat.
anybody says. If you were forced to make a $10 bet of your own money, will anything be really listened to or implemented? Smart money's going to go with no, based on past performance. So it's you can't and shouldn't be able to run from your mistakes on this issue either. When it's all passed, a lot of people are going to move away, get back to wherever they need to get back to. I'm going to go out and have our own little Nuremberg trials of sorts. We're going to start going and picking people off.
Just put them on blast.
Yeah.
Who are the 9 people that voted no for giving vets cannabis for PTSD? There's 9 people.
I didn't look at the roll call yet, but
I didn't yet either.
There's 9 idiots in the Senate.
And
Idiots.
And I got to say, it's bipartisan opposition.
Yeah.
Bipartisan opposition.
Yeah. I just can't believe there are senators that don't support vets, that would want vets to suffer.
Especially a Democrat who's a Vietnam veteran.
Oh, you're talking about the gentleman.
No, you call them the gentleman.
Cody?
No,
No.
Ron Rice.
No.
Senator Dick.
Rice.
I think you meant Senator Dick.
Rice.
Cody.
Senator Rice.
Wait a minute.
Senator Rice. He was there yesterday. Oh, remember he was there.
He's a vet, but I don't think
yeah.
he's a combat veteran.
Philippe, do you
He's a
remember
veteran.
he was standing there maybe 8-10 feet away, and it's kind of quiet, and he had Cheetos and was offering them to his friends, and I'm
Yes.
like, Cheetos, isn't that what people who are stoned eat? Cheetos?
Who, Rice?
Yeah.
Rice, come on, Rice.
Yeah.
Rice was a whack.
But he was not that far away.
He was women's auxiliary.
We were in the spot while Leo and Ken were upstairs, and we were banished from there. We could see directly in what's going on, and everybody that you saw enter that room walked by us. I mean, so we could see who was there and what was going on.
Oh yeah, when Senator Sweeney walked in, everyone was, and I'm like, who? Because I don't know him by face like you
I do, because of this guy right here with the bandana shirt on. I know majority of them by face now, thanks to you, Mr.
And
Miller.
it pays to do that. I would quiz yourself sometimes when you see a picture in the paper.
That's the biggest lesson I learned.
And then start looking up the names that you remember, like Sweeney, Rice, Senator Diane Allen, people whose names are coming up. Start looking them up and know what they look like.
What's Diane's last name?
Allen.
Okay, so it was Allen. I kept saying we
But
had a conversation.
What
and he was
happened
trying to
is,
figure out who you
for
were
instance,
talking
the
about.
time Senator Sweeney came from across the street at the cafe to walk in, and I had just gotten out of my car to get started with the podcast, to be able to say, Senator Sweeney, you have him at a disadvantage. He doesn't know you, you know him. And when somebody knows they've been recognized like that, they also know that you're of enough knowledge to know who's who and what part they're playing. And he is, other than the governor, probably the most powerful legislator, because he can block anything he wants. As can the head of the assembly. So they're pretty powerful, and it's nice that they're somewhat on our side. Yeah, every week it's been a new push. It was before for him to post it for a vote in committee. And then when it got in committee, is to post it for a vote on the floor.
Maybe we should have listened to Furquan that day. Maybe we should have had our faith and our trust into Furquan, because Furquan did tell us that he did take care of us.
Yep.
And he made sure that the stuff did happen. You
Yeah.
remember we had that conversation
and-
before we
and-
actually started having doubts.
And he is, of course, the general counsel to the Senate new Democratic wheel of this vehicle. That's a horrible metaphor, but getting caught short today. I don't know why.
But he had us. And
Yeah, he did.
And he did not lie to us.
And we, I think he probably appreciates that we didn't get back badger him or anything like that, and just let it work itself out.
Yes.
And when Lefty called Senator Sweeney's office the first and second time, I was taken back by how willing they were to talk at all, because even that was an indication it was going our way. It's just we're not supposed to find these things out till they happen for some reason. I don't know.
Let's call the governor.
Andre Rim, one of the baddest football players to come out of Trenton Central High School.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we graduated together.
Hey, you guys want to ask the governor himself if he's going to pass the bill?
I don't mind. Please.
Yeah,
Let's give a call.
Let's give a call. See what
If
he
you
says.
use the decorum you use with Senator Sweeney, it could be a good podcast moment.
Okay, let's give it a shot.
I'll be off mic for a few minutes.
Oh well, it's been a blessing, guys. Since
yeah.
since the story came out on Monday, a lot of opportunities been coming my way.
Here you go. Who's talking here? Who's talking? Leo?
I'll talk.
All right, Leo, you talk.
Governor's office.
Good morning. How are you?
Good, how are you?
All right. My name's Leo Bridgewater, and I'm calling because I'd like to invite the governor to. I'd like to see if I can attend the governor possibly signing legislative bill 2345 that was just placed on his desk this week.
Okay.
So what do I need to do?
Hold on one second, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
He's a veteran too, by the way.
By the way, you have to tell her she's on the air.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You forgot to tell her she's on the air. Even if you do it quick.
Governor's office.
Good morning, ma'am. How are you?
Good morning. You're on the air. We're doing a podcast out front, and we know that the governor has a bill on his desk now, Senate Bill 2345, and we'd like to voice our support for that bill and ask him to sign it.
You want that to again? Which bill is that?
The medical marijuana for veterans for PTSD.
Okay.
For PTSD.
Okay. All right, sir. I will note that you are in support of that bill.
Yeah, we have two veterans here, and we're actually outside the governor's office. And if he wants to stop
Okay.
by and talk to us at any time, we'd love to speak to him about it.
Okay. Well, sir, I'll certainly note both those comments, and we do thank you for your call.
And
Thank
ma'am,
you.
just so you know, my name is Leo Leo Bridgewater, BRIDGEWATER.
Okay.
And my name is Philip Dumay. I'm also a
I-
combat veteran.
Okay. Good. Thank you, sir. Will you please spell your first name?
PHILIPPE.
Wait a minute. TFHI.
LIPPE.
Mm-hmm.
And my last name is DUME.
Okay. I will note that, and I do thank you for your call.
Well, thank you.
Thank
Have
you.
a good rest of the day.
Have a
too.
blessed
Alrighty, bye-bye.
All right. There we go. There we go. All right.
Well, we're on the record. Let's see what happens. Maybe he'll step out, or someone will say, "Hey, you got these guys out there. This is about that bill that went on your desk yesterday. What you gonna do, man?"
Some good PR.
Yeah.
Make those potheads happy.
Hey, yeah. And it's also about changing the perception.
Make the veterans happy.
Yeah, make them happy and not call them potheads anymore and call
Yeah,
them
veterans,
patients.
Yeah. And understanding that the longer you wait, the more people die.
Yeah.
And what's funny is working at a dispensary, and for me, I get that up close and personal with folks who are dealing with a full range of
Oh,
illnesses.
it's sad, dude.
Oh my
it's
God!
brutal, man.
Oh man, nothing makes you value where you are in life when you hear someone else going through it.
And someone's
then
getting pushed in with on a bed.
Yeah. It's just different. It's funny. When I testified before the Senate committee, one of the state troopers that was out there, he said to me, it's a shame because, and I said, why do you say it's a shame? he said it's a shame. He said for change like this to happen, he said something's got to happen to one of them. And I said, what? He said something has to happen. It either has to happen to them or it has to happen to somebody very close to them before they start. And I said, wow, that's interesting. And he said, yeah. He said because he said, think about it. You do your most valuable, your most intense research when a life that you care about is on the line, because you're looking for answers to get help. And it's and for him to say it to me like that, and again, I hadn't even thought about it in that way until this state trooper brought it to my attention.
I would say I would agree with that, except that the parents of these children can't do any more than they're doing.
No. He was talking about the lawmakers.
Yeah.
He was saying in terms of the lawmakers, those who oppose you, he said they're not going to change their minds. He said they're not going to change their minds or even think to change their minds until something bad happens to either them or someone close to them. He said that's really the way it works. He said that's really how you get the fastest change and all that stuff, is when it's affecting someone on a very personal level.
Yeah, they need to do it earlier while the suffering is going on.
Yeah, I've always said we
on.
need people who have a tremendous amount of foresight, not hindsight.
Yeah.
We need foresight.
Yes.
We gravely need you to have the kind of foresight to see that, conventional, the traditional way of addressing PTSD isn't working for everybody.
That's so key when it comes to this kind of stuff.
Yeah. There are real people who are dying, and here we are talking about PTSD. We haven't even talked about the other conditions that are not listed on the state, as a condition to get.
Let's
into
go
the
through
state
that list. How many conditions are left that need to be addressed on the? Let's see. I think ALS is covered, right? Chronic pain would be good. Do we have chronic pain? We would need Wolski and Miller for this. Miller might know.
I'm going to step off. I gotta take this.
Okay.
All right.
So yeah, there's a bunch of diseases. I can't even. Like I said, I'm going to walk in there with a dartboard. I'm not kidding, because I'm offended that they're going to ask me to pick a disease. Why are you asking me to pick a disease? Really?
To put on a list.
So what, do I pick the disease that causes the most death? Do I pick a disease that causes the most pain?
So apparently it's just a waiting game to see what goes on next, and if they see how many people die, see how important it is.
I know, a disease that kills the most kids. How about that one? We'll pick that disease.
That's a lot of them. There is a lot of them.
How about I just pick my own disease and be selfish? Pick my own disease. Can I do that? It's just a shitty thing to do. Sorry I said the word shit, but it's horrible.
It is horrible.
Doctors should make this decision, not me.
Or the DPA or the Drug Policy Alliance.
Who are the politicians making these decisions about life and death and who gets to suffer and who doesn't? Why does Chris Christie decide who suffers and who doesn't? I don't want him making a cheese sandwich for me. He'll eat it anyway.
Yeah, you definitely won't see that cheese sandwich.
I mean, come on. The doctors should be making these decisions, not us. And like I said, I'm going in there with a dartboard, and that's my whole angle, is that I shouldn't be picking these diseases.
You shouldn't be playing with people's life. It's not your call to choose who lives or die.
I'm going to use that. I'm not going to play God.
Yes, which a lot of people are playing.
These politicians are playing God. I mean, what do you think if they say to you, Phil, we'll give you medical cannabis, but you have to go to a psychiatrist first and jump through more hoops? You'll obviously go, but... And then the psychiatrist says to you, no, we're going to give you Xanax first. Before we give you cannabis, we're going to give you a year worth of Xanax, with the side effects being
upset stomach,
diarrhea, and death.
Yeah, I'll probably be dead by then. I could actually see that happening. Because through all the trials and tribulations I've already been through, I could actually see that happening. And, with that being said, it's actually going to be a waiting game. I could actually really, really see that happening. Before I even get the cannabis, I'm probably going to be getting a couple other stuff. So it's like, we're going to see if it works. Because, that's exactly what we do in the military, even though it doesn't work, especially in the VA.
Yeah.
We're gonna see if it works. Matter of fact, this is the funniest story I heard. So the other day, one of my friends / ex-soldiers told me he went to the VA, to the Veterans Advantage Clinic. He had a stomach ache for a couple of days and a headache. You know what they gave him? They give him 30 perk tins
Wow.
for a stomach ache and a headache.
Wow. That'll make it worse.
I believe so, but they so quote unquote took care of his problem, and they felt like on to the next one.
Damn.
Yeah. I mean, like, when I heard it, I was laughing. I had no choice but to laugh because, like, I stood right there like, yeah, that sounds like the VA because I know what the VA is capable of. But I was laughing because this right here shouldn't be happening to vets anymore. You going inside, it's like being a civilian. That you going in for one thing, but they're going to take care of another one. And you have to keep on coming back and back and back and back and back. So, hence the forth that, your problem never really get taken care of. Yeah, man, for a headache and a stomach ache, 30 perks.
What has been your worst experience at the VA?
Oh, man, my worst experience at the VA. So I was a homeless veteran in the state of New Jersey, which should never happen to no veterans at all, first of all.
You were homeless?
I was homeless for 9 months.
Oh, my God.
And not only I was homeless for 9 months, I actually asked the VA for help. And
Of course they helped you. Of course, right? Because you're a veteran, homeless. Like that. Of course they helped you.
Yeah,
Right.
but the only help that I got from the VA was I kept on getting my medicine on a monthly basis, which was Percocet, Seroquel, Tramadol. That came like clockwork. But me getting help from me getting on my feet and me from being homeless, that I had to do that on my own. I actually did that on my own.
Oh, so they didn't help you?
Nope. I have documentations asking for help, and I never got help. The worst 9 months of my life.
Why do people kill themselves in front of the VA? Did you see the guy that killed himself right in front of the VA?
Oh, yes. After he got denied.
He asked for help too, didn't he?
He asked for help. He kept continuous to ask for help, and not to say he got denied. The VA was taking their time helping him.
Oh boy.
And he, believe it or not, he just recently came home. So yeah. So there's a lot of stories we could talk about the VA, but at the end of the day, all this money that they get, and they're not doing anything. It's still stuff is still not gonna get done. So hence the forth of me doing what I'm doing, and doing my line and starting stuff that I'm doing for veterans, because the VA is not doing nothing for us.
Do they even care that 22 vets a day kill themselves?
Nah, because if they did care, trust me, it would have been stopped a long time ago. So apparently they don't care. It's not like, I'm not gonna say they don't care. Apparently they don't know what they're doing, and them not knowing what they're doing, showing us that they don't care. So
They seem to care more about the Iraq and Afghanistan numbers of deaths than once you're home. It's like those are the numbers they count, but the suicides once you get home from the war, that doesn't really count.
Are higher than the people that died in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Yes, I heard that. That's crazy. That's not right. That's something seriously wrong.
And that's
here.
happening stateside. So believe it or not, we have our own war.
Hey, we're talking that mic. Say it. Say it. Say it. Say it. Say it.
We have our own war in
They
America.
don't give a shit once they already used you for what they needed you for in the war. Then
That's right.
when you're home, they don't give a shit.
No.
They don't need you no more. They don't care.
Well, they used to spit on you in Vietnam when you come home. Remember those days?
Used to call them baby killers.
Yeah.
But they didn't know what these guys went through. They didn't know they had to watch their guys get gutted open. And, Vietnam was different. The stories that I heard was just crazy. But then again, people did what they did. That's why to as like, with a lot of stuff that happened in service, to us, like, especially during wartime, you really, as a soldier, you really can't take offense of it, because you got to look at it like this. Two things. First, you're a man. This is a job, and you're going to do what the hell you're going to do for you to come back home to your loved ones. So, yeah. There's a lot of stuff to us, like, when I came back, people were saying, yeah, we're doing this, we're doing that. But at the end of the day, you know what? Because of us, that you're able to actually stand here and say, no, we got to stop doing this, no, petition this, petition that. But I guarantee you're not going to put on that uniform and go serve the country. You don't know what we've been through.
I'm a pacifist. I ain't trying to kill nobody.
Lord have mercy.
I don't think nobody wants to.
No.
What?
I've been a pacifist my whole life. Anti-war my whole life. Sorry.
I grew up in it, and I'm still in it. I wish I could say the same thing, but I'm anti-killing.
Damn.
I'm anti-killing. Is that close?
I know. He's staring a little too hard, ain't he, over there?
Yeah.
Fool broke his neck. Like, nah, I was trying to tell him stop staring so hard. I said, man, stop staring so hard, man. Calm
What are you
down."
guys staring
Say
at?
broke. Oh, the lovely lady that's putting on her
I'll mess
lipstick
with
to the
you.
right.
Oh, you can't do that. You can't whisper into the mic. That doesn't work. That does not work. Oh my God. No, you can't do. No. Unless we're interviewing
Sorry,
these
we
people.
got sidetracked. A little
You guys-
sidetracked
You
here.
guys can't do this to people. You're harassing people on the street. We can't harass people on the street. Yeah, come on, man. Monday night we might be able to get away with that. Not here. We do the shock chuck thing Monday night. We'll do it then. Oh boy. But yeah, veterans, man, take care of them.
Yes, sir.
Gotta take care of them.
I just had a veteran move into my next door neighbor yesterday. I just met him. His name is Sly. He had a veteran hat on, so I thanked him for his service, and seems like a pretty cool neighbor. I was just moving some plants out of my garden, and it was a bad timing when he pulled up. I had some babies that I had to take to a different location, and he just rolled up on me, and I was just like, ha! And he was looked down, and I looked down. Everybody was looking around, but he was cool. His name's Sly, veteran, just moved in. Probably said a little too much information about all that right there.
Put him on blast. Let's put Sly on blast. You know, the medical marijuana program in New Jersey is such a failure that I would even say, don't even get your card. Just go out and grow your own weed. Seriously, go get your weed on the street. Go grow it yourself, because you know what? The program is a failure. Yes. Children are dying.
Yes.
Veterans are dying. People are dying.
Yes.
Waiting.
It's way too expensive.
The medicine sucks. You can't get oils. You can't get
better
edibles.
shit off the street.
Just go. Yeah.
I haven't found I was just saying the other day, I haven't found a strand from the dispensary yet that I actually like, that I actually said, oh, yes, I will go back and get that. No, street weed is better. I'm sorry, but I do thank the Compassionate Science Program. They are trying their hardest to
you
get
do?
the best.
Why are you thanking them?
Because I feel like I do have freedom, a little bit more freedom now with this card.
No, they're part of the problem.
Even though it still sucks, but they're getting oil, and the end of this month they'll have
They've been
oil.
saying that for 2 years.
Yeah.
2 years they've been saying, oh, we'll have oil. We'll have oil. We'll have oil. While people are dying and suffering. Oh yeah, we'll have oil.
It's not the best program left, but I am grateful just to be in, just to be in it. Like,
I'm grateful that I'm grateful for the card that keeps the police away from me.
Exactly, that's what I am.
I got the card to keep the police away from me, though.
That's what we have. It's just that's
what it's
it.
for.
That's it. Yeah.
It's not for health. It's not for medical reasons. It's to keep the cops off my back.
And so they can make their money.
Keep the police from arresting and tasing me while I'm smoking my joint on the corner. Leave me alone. Just leave me alone.
Who's interviewing Jim? What's that channel?
Oh, Jim's always being interviewed by somebody. They love Jim Miller. They just love Jim Miller. They don't love me so much, but they love Jim Miller.
They do love Jim, don't they?
Yeah, they don't love me. Oh, I can turn this down. Would you like to speak on the mic about some cannabis stuff, young lady? Would you like to speak on the microphone about some cannabis stuff? Okay, we can't talk off mic. I can't. Well, because we have dead air and just people. There you
It's
go.
a broader spectrum of people. Speak about important stuff instead of talking about how people love Jim Miller. No offense, Jim Miller, I love you. Yeah, just you're getting your voice out there a little more. Speak about relevant stuff. Don't talk about Jim Miller's love from everybody. Go ahead and.
Wow. Damn. I guess Cleo just told us how to do the show. Get to work, guys.
Oh, I know. We got to get to work.
Get to work. Get on it. Be relevant now. Go.
Yes.
Go. Go. I'm just kidding. I do have some news stories I'd like to read, if you don't mind. There is a story here that I saw about...
Shout out to EJ, locked up, cannabis prisoner for a year and a half. That's my buddy. See you when you get home. I'm going to put money on your books.
Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump said Friday he would not use federal law to eliminate legalized marijuana in states like Colorado. That puts him at odds with the stance peddled by New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, considered to be Trump's possible pick for Attorney General. When Christie was running for the Republican presidential nomination last year, he vowed to enforce federal laws banning the sale of marijuana to crack down on states that have legalized pot. If you're getting high in Colorado today, enjoy it. That's Governor Christie's voice, by the way. Wait, let me do his voice better. If you're getting high in Colorado today, enjoy it. Christie, a former federal prosecutor, said during a speech last July, "As of January 2017, I will enforce the federal law." The governor dropped out of the GOP presidential primary in February and has since become one of Trump's top advisors. And if Trump picks him as Attorney General, the top law enforcement position in the country, Christie could have a say in dictating federal justice policy involving issues like the legality of marijuana. Wow. So when Trump gave an interview Friday with Denver's TV station affiliate, KUSA, reporter Brandon Rittiman mentioned that Christie was the only presidential candidate who was campaigning saying he would use federal authority to shut down sales of recreational marijuana in states like Colorado. "Yeah, I wouldn't do that, no," Trump said. "You wouldn't let him do that?" Rittiman asked. "No," Trump said. "Even if you picked him as the Attorney General?" "Well, I don't know," Trump said. "You're asking me? I wouldn't do that, no." Rittiman then asked the celebrity businessman and former Atlantic City casino tycoon if that means he believes Colorado should be able to do what it's doing. "Well, I think it's up to the states," Trump replied. "Yes, I'm a states person. I think it should be up to the states, absolutely." Well, there you go. There's your answer, ladies and gentlemen. There's your answer. Hello. Would you like a hemp bracelet, ma'am? Oh, you already got one. Oh, good for you. Okay, excellent. Would you like to buy a T-shirt? Don't shoot, I'm white.
What size you need?
Are you serious? You want a don't shoot, I'm white shirt?
I'm sorry? Do you want a extra large? You got an extra large?
Yeah, don't shoot, I'm white.
Don't shoot on white? What one? You want this one? Don't shoot on white? What's
That works. That works.
Is it extra large?
Awesome.
All right.
Make sure it's extra large.
You want an extra large?
Yeah.
Where, in the back of your truck?
I'm actually from Colorado. I just
Really?
moved back. Yeah,
Okay.
right there on the ground.
I'd love to talk to you for a second. You want to come on the mic for a second?
Yeah, get on the mic.
Yeah, come over here for a second.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about the T-shirt. All right, you can get on
Come on the mic for a second. You're from Colorado, huh?
Yeah, I just moved back.
Wow. Why'd you move back from Colorado?
Mike.
What's wrong with you?
I was homesick.
Oh, okay.
I'm originally from New Jersey. I moved out to Colorado, lived there for almost a year, and I loved it.
I bet.
But
Taste of freedom.
New Jersey's my home.
Oh, you from Trenton?
No, I'm from Monmouth County, but still, New Jersey's my home.
Okay. Okay.
And you know, it's so beautiful out there.
I know.
And especially that marijuana is legal. You know, it's like walking into a liquor store.
Yeah.
For me, I'm not a big drinker. So I tell my mom she likes wine. I like weed. I tell her, you know, you have a glass of wine at night to relax. I smoke a joint at night to relax.
Yes.
The only thing I don't like about New Jersey with the medical marijuana law is if you have felonies, you can't get a medical card.
Right. You're not sick. If you have a felony, then you're healthy.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently. You have no
I-
health problems anymore.
I suffer from severe Crohn's disease, and I also do have PTSD. But I can't get a card out here because I'm a convicted felon.
You can't get a card for PTSD because you are a convicted felon.
Yes.
So that means you're healthy then. If you don't need a card, right? By that logic, you don't need a card because no, that doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
How does that work? Wait, you're so
That-
sick. You're a sick person.
That and the
You need
marijuana is
treatment.
so expensive for medical use in New Jersey.
Oh, please get it off the street. It's better. It's better and cheaper.
It is.
Yeah.
It blows my mind. It really does. It really blows my mind. How, you know, my felony is actually for marijuana.
Okay, so you've been treating your disease with marijuana.
Yeah.
Got in trouble for treating your disease with marijuana. Now that you can treat your disease with marijuana, they're saying no because you treated your disease with marijuana before, so now you can't treat it now because just because.
Exactly.
Just because we can.
It's because I'm white.
Because we want to make you suffer.
Yeah.
Damn. I want to give you a shirt just for suffering, man. Yo, let's give him a shirt for suffering. Jesus Christ. I'm supposed to sell these for $15-20. I'm just going to give you one.
I really appreciate that,
Man,
sir. I really
what size are you?
I'm large, extra large.
What size is this here? That's 2XL. Yeah, in the car.
But I love what you guys are doing. I really do.
You should come with us. What town do you live in?
I live in East Windsor.
East Windsor. We haven't gone to East Windsor yet. What we do is, I'm a medical marijuana patient. We go to police stations and we smoke cannabis at police stations, and we make videos about it. We've gone to 50 police stations so far in New Jersey. I've been to Monmouth County, all over Monmouth County. Been to Keensburg, Holmdel, Keyport, everywhere. You name it. I haven't gone to East Windsor. That's where we're going, bro. All right, I'm going to take your name, and we're going to go to East Windsor and smoke weed with you in East Windsor at the police station. At the police station.
You said you were giving it to him, so she just gave a donation.
Hey, I'll take it. I'll take it. Hey, here's my card.
That's my beautiful girlfriend right there.
Thank you for the donation, too.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Get in touch with me. Are you on Facebook?
Yes, I am.
All right, look me up on Facebook. Lefty Grimes on Facebook.
I'll definitely
We'll
look
friend
you
you.
up on
I'm going to come to your town. I'm going to smoke weed at your police station. We're going to make a video, a music video, and we're going to have fun together, me and you.
All right, sounds great.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And
Enjoy the
I don't know why you came back to Jersey. I know you're homesick, but that won't last long, believe me.
I regretted it the second I got on that Greyhound bus. I'll tell you what, I did.
You'll be in Colorado soon.
But
don't
the
worry.
best thing about Colorado is that pot's legal, and the people are so much nicer because it is.
Yeah.
Because everyone's stoned.
Yeah. Yes, it's true.
I was sitting at the Greyhound bus station, and I was upset because I had to move back to New Jersey because of my Crohn's. I lost my job. I was losing my apartment. And, I got fired because I had to keep calling out of work. When you can't get out of the bathroom, you can't go to work.
Crohn's is the worst.
But
I know a bunch
I'm
of cronies.
sitting at the bus station, and this man who's actually dying from lung cancer. He lived in Mississippi, I think it was. He actually came to Colorado just for the pot. He comes out there every so often to get pot. I'm sitting at the Greyhound station. He saw I was upset, and this man's 62 years old. He comes up to me. He goes, "Hey, man, listen. I know you're upset. Here's a joint, man. Go down the street and smoke that shit." I was like, "That's awesome." And he was actually on the same bus as me, and we smoked the whole ride back. He was a really nice guy. He only had a month left to live.
He had a month left to live.
Yeah, that was about 3 months ago, 2 months ago. So God rest his soul.
Wow.
He's now dead, but
Wow.
he got to share a couple moments of his last
A random
bit
act
of life on this
kindness.
earth
Yeah.
with me, which was amazing.
Wow.
And I offered him money. I offered him money for the joint. He's like, "No, I don't want it." He goes, "This is a gift to you."
Wow.
I said, "It's a gift to everybody."
Yeah. It should be able to be. You should just give it for free to everyone.
And
It grows out of the friggin' ground. Come on.
yeah, and it kills cancer cells.
Yeah, it starves the blood supply to tumors.
Yeah.
It starves their blood supply. They can't.
Yeah.
They can't breathe. They can't live.
My mom's all against pot because she's never smoked it.
Mine too.
But
Go
I was
figure.
like, "Mom, they make edibles."
Oh yeah.
The edibles are great, though. I mean, when I was in Colorado, I actually got sick. I had a cold, sore throat, runny nose, whole 9 yards. I had a regular cold. And I took the lozenges. There were 10 milligrams per lozenge. I ate about 2 of them, had a nice little head high, but it helped. It helped my cold. It helps CBD creams and stuff like that. I have rheumatoid arthritis because of Crohn's. And I had a pinched nerve in my back. I had this chick I was seeing, she rubbed some on my back, and it really helped too. They have CBD liquids that are amazing. It's like, I wish everybody would just try it. But there's some people that are like, "Oh, marijuana madness still," and it's really not like that anymore.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. You're speaking to the image, the Cheech and Chong image that pops in people's heads.
Yeah.
When you start talking about cannabis and the benefits of, using cannabis and how it relieves pain, a lot of people, and this has been my experience, is that people have a image in their heads that is so not what's actually going on, and there's an
They don't
old
see the healing aspect.
yes
of
there's
it.
a very
They just
old
think
way
that
of
you're gonna sit on the couch and eat junk food and be a waste of life.
That
and
is
it's
true.
really not how it works.
It doesn't work that way.
No.
And the thing is that so few of us are basically out loud about what we do and how we do it and why we do it. And so when you take into account the number of people who are, there's 22 of us killing ourselves a day. That's where we are as a country, and even that bit of information is new news to a lot of people, and when I say a lot of people, I'm talking like just the regular common folk who don't even, use cannabis.
Yeah.
When you say 22 a day. Okay. Okay. Go ahead and get it set up and call me over. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
But it's amazing how when you say that number, regular folks are just like, wait a minute, I didn't know it was that bad. And it's like, yeah. When I first started activism, one of the things that Jim Miller pointed out to me, and it's something that it just stuck, which is more Vietnam veterans committed suicide than had actually died in the war. And we're right back there again.
And those numbers, I would add, were frightening at the time.
We're talking over 58,000.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
There's
I mean,
days when 200 would be killed in 8 or 9 different conflicts total. Not just, it was coming at a frightening rate. And then to think that those who got out alive would then kill themselves in greater numbers. You don't have to know anything about post-traumatic stress to know how wrong that is. In other words, you start with that, it's a fact.
it actually helps even with depression.
Yeah.
Yes.
It
yes.
really does, because I
Yes.
also suffer from severe depression.
Okay.
And one of the reasons why I moved back from Colorado was because my depression kicked in so bad that I lost 60. Well, I have Crohn's disease too. With my Crohn's and the PTSD and the depression all together, I lost 60 pounds in 2 months.
Wow.
And that was with cannabis,
Right.
but I was eating.
Well, it's like if somebody says it helps with their depression, it should be no real need for intense studies so we can have the numbers to back it up.
Exactly.
Depression is your own state of mind. So basically, I relate that to post-traumatic stress. When veterans are saying how it helps them, and those in legal programs in other states for whatever side effects they might have that they don't want. Some actually don't want to get high. Some don't want to feel that kind of laid back. Nobody leaves the programs they're in due to deleterious effects on them.
Well, I'm a veteran who suffers from PTSD. I'm sorry. I'm a veteran who lives with PTSD. But that's not why I'm in the program. I'm enrolled for my knees. And so
you get off-label relief then.
Yes. And so it helps with my PTSD. Now, the problem that I have, the itch that I just cannot scratch, is the fact that, number one, I've had 3 friends attempt suicide. 2 were successful. 1 I actually had a hand in helping to not commit suicide. And the part that bothers me, like I said, that itch that I can't scratch, is what if Chris or Mike would have had access to this? What if? What if maybe it may not have been such a close call with my other friend? And understand something. These are people who I hold very near and dear to my heart, based on a shared experience, war, and now we are, back with the, how there's some things it's funny when you're in a combat situation, how whatever our differences are, we're literally put to the side so we can get each other's home. We're watching each other's back.
You mentioned something, and that can be looked at even from most people an easier standpoint to see what would have happened to those your friends who successfully committed suicide. What would have been like if they had cannabis? Ask yourself, what would have been the worst thing that would have happened if they had cannabis compared to them killing themselves. There's nothing
They'll still
worse
be
that
here.
could have
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
Nothing. Maybe they would have still
Yeah.
killed themselves, but it wouldn't have been worse. Whatever would have happened would not have been worse.
Yep. Then what the reality?
And so what I keep saying is this is what the phrase err on the side of caution is for. You cannot go back and save their life when you get the clinical proof you demand of everybody else. So why not say yes to this and then go ahead if you want, study why you think it isn't going to work, try to find out scientifically that it won't work, and then take care of that problem when you get to it. You can't go back and give somebody medical marijuana after they've killed themselves. It's just a common sense. It should be done whether or not it's veterans, but as you know, we hope it's the disrespect of veterans, the perception and the reality of it when somebody goes against this. Is something that can change your career if you're a legislator, and that's why we try to bring repercussions. You know why? You know why I stop at a red light even if there's no cars around, I see nobody in miles either direction? Because there might be a
that
consequence
cop
if I got
Yeah.
you, right?
Yeah.
You don't
There
know.
might be that
Yeah.
cop there
And,
with
and
all
that,
luck,
and that
there
would
would
happen. So it's
think about
it,
that,
so, but
though.
if never ever did that happen, I'd be blazing right through it. The point is repercussions in life are what keep people in line in most cases. I'd like to think it's basically decent human nature that they want to treat their fellow man as their brothers and their sisters. But no, it's fear of going to hell that does it. It's all these potential repercussions that get people to do what they need to do.
Repercussions.
So we
is-
need to offer those repercussions.
Repercussions is exactly why I'm a firm believer in marijuana, because when I was 10 years old, I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease.
Yeah.
Okay.
See.
And at 10 years old, they started giving me painkillers. 10 years old, giving me opiate painkillers.
And you know that I am well aware that for whatever reason you were given them, it was not tested on 10-year-olds.
No, it
ever.
was not.
They don't do testing on children. So when it has to be tested. Well, it has to be tested. Well, it was never and will never be tested on 10-year-olds unless it's like life-saving experimental treatment.
But see, if they prescribed me medical marijuana at 10 years old, even if it was a CBD,
Yeah.
you know, not to get me stoned or anything like that, to help with it, to help with the pain, to help with the loss of appetite, the nausea, all of that stuff.
You know, and
I wouldn't have turned out to be the person I am today.
yeah,
You know, I'm a recovering heroin addict
good for you.
because when I was 10 years old, they gave me opiates.
Yeah.
And a
That's
10-year-old,
absurd.
you take something, wow, this makes me feel great. I'm talkative, I can have friends,
Yeah.
you know, and then all of a sudden they cut you off.
Thing is, with opiates, they make, in many cases, make you feel good too. I mean, they'll have other effects that don't help you, but nobody seemed real worried about that.
No, because
Other
it's
than the fact that, well, now
FDA
people are
approved.
crushing them up and snorting them. It has to be time release. They're working against people who are much smarter at scamming crap than they ever will be at preventing scams.
It's
you
an
know?
epidemic.
Yeah, it is an
You know,
epidemic.
it's an epidemic,
and
but
all,
yet
all
pot's been
options should be on
around
the table. All
forever.
options. You know, so
And
you'll understand
there's no
this
problem with
probably
that.
as well as anybody then. When the state and federal health departments announced independently that opiate abuse and overuse is a number one health concern, both nationally and state. So that when they say that, and they blame it on overprescriptions, now they've got guidelines for monitoring physicians in place, and a physician's going to think, you're asking me to increase your prescription because you're in pain now. You know, it's not working
Your
as well as it
tolerance
used to.
went
I'm afraid I'm going to get investigated, so no, I'm not going to do it. At that point, based on the fact they can prescribe Schedule II narcotics, they should be able then to say, however, I can recommend cannabis to use as an adjunct medicine,
Yes.
which would then give the patient the relief they needed and could then lower their opiate use. It's just, it does not only take a brain surgeon, it just takes a person with a working brain to understand that that would be a prudent course to follow.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have Ken Wolski in the house. Ken Wolski.
Listen,
Sit as
I-
long as you want.
I appreciate you guys and
I-
everything you guys are
We
doing.
appreciate
And
you
I'll keep in
stopping
touch.
by, and because the personal stories are really what we're all about, and that's why we keep coming back. So when you stop and sit here and are brave enough to tell us your story, it gives us more wherewithal to keep showing up every Thursday. You know, we're going to be the Thursday, 3 Thursdays before Thanksgiving, we're going to be here. You know, you always know. Every Thursday between April and Thanksgiving last year, and we're following suit this year. So anytime, man.
I'm so grateful for what you guys are doing here.
That's what makes it all worthwhile.
Get it out
man.
to the public and show them that marijuana isn't the devil. You know, it's not. We're not running around shooting people because we can't get our next high off pot.
Yeah, we're.
You know, we're not breaking into people's houses trying to steal stuff so we can get stoned.
Yeah, it's not
what it
it's
comes
not
down
reefer
to.
madness anymore.
You know,
it's
it
not.
never was.
No, it
It
never
never was
was.
Reefer Madness.
Although that is one funny movie.
Oh, it's
man.
hilarious. I
It
mean,
is,
just look at
I like the way they got the guy smoking in the corner going.
Pineapple Express.
And he does that. you know?
Pineapple Express. The first scene of that movie is the best.
That is, yeah. Well,
The
that's
best.
from that. That's from Reefer Madness. All right, thanks, bro.
I have a bunch of them. Yeah, awesome.
Looking forward to seeing you guys
Thank
again.
you, Ken.
Please stop by every Thursday.
So I'd like to take this moment to offer a word from our sponsors. CMMNJ.org, a really cool org. Ken Walski, co-founder of the Coalition for Medical Marijuana and CEO, Chief Information Officer. What else you got? We need a list of titles for you. And our weekly news source here, which is good because when I'm setting things up and all that, I don't have to be worried about bringing in my homework because pretty much like clockwork, you know, you can keep us abreast of what's going on. And of course, we do have the big news we've talked about, but at some point you need to explain to me and anybody listening what happens when a bill reaches the governor's desk and it's not a lame duck session. So, I know we may not have all the numbers and specifics, but still there's a limited course of action that can be taken now. Really basically 3 options.
God, what are they?
Well, the governor laid them out himself when asked. I've heard him now finally get the question one time. Since the bill got to his desk, what do you plan on doing? So the governor said this, Ken. He said, well, first I'm going to read the bill. Then I'm either going to sign it, send it back, or veto it.
Yeah.
So that's it. He told us his job description at this point and how a bill becomes law. So he's got 3 options. Sign it, veto it,
Or he can
or
conditionally
yeah.
veto it.
Well, which is smart money, I think, goes there because then he gets to say, I had some concerns, they dealt with them, we compromised, and we got this done. So he'll look as a compromiser as opposed to giving in.
Right. Now, you know, first of all, the bill is not much of a read. It shouldn't take anybody very long to read the bill
I know.
because all it really does is add post-traumatic stress disorder to the list of qualifying conditions, and it also adds a qualification for that the PTSD has to be resistant to the conventional treatment for.
Well, so it's already got that in
PTSD.
it.
Yeah,
He doesn't need to add that.
Right. So we think that would be the thing that he would want to make sure that there were adequate safeguards in the bill so that not everybody and his brother could qualify immediately, you know, who say they have PTSD. But in fact, they have to have been seen by a physician and they have to have had a diagnosis of PTSD and they have to have had some type of treatment that failed to correct the condition before they would be eligible for marijuana therapy in New Jersey. So it's a very conservative bill. It's not very long to read. Like I say, there's only really 2 parts to it. And you know, we think that it's the kind of thing that he would readily sign.
Let me delve into the previous treatments have had to have failed. The most glaring result of failure is success in committing suicide. So on one hand, to say, okay, your therapy's failed, you're eligible for medical marijuana if you weren't dead. You know, that sounds like, you know, they're probably going to fail because PTSD is not easily controlled, especially on first and second attempts.
Right.
And it's done with psychoactive drugs in many, if not most cases. So what they're saying is no matter how you feel about certain drugs, you're going to have to do them first,
Right.
put your body through what it's going to put it through, and then come back and tell us it didn't work. Now, I got to tell you what, if I had post-traumatic stress and somebody made me do that and I came back from my appointment to see if it worked, I'd be screaming and going, does it look like it worked? You might maybe grab them by the throat and go, I don't think it worked, Make them pay for that. Make them pay.
Yeah.
That bothers me. If you were in pain and said, well, you got to try this first, they're sentencing you to pain. It's so wrong. However,
Yeah, not only that, Jim, but the typical medication that they try for PTSD is antidepressants.
Yeah.
And antidepressants.
What's the side effect of an antidepressant?
It carries a risk of suicide in itself.
Right.
So
it actually carries the risk of depression and suicide for having an antidepressant.
Kill yourself, come back, and we'll give you something else.
Oh, he killed himself? Yeah, okay, he would have qualified then.
Try something else. Yeah, we should have did that. We should have.
And the depression, people are only depressed because they have PTSD and nothing is helping it. So really they're
depression is from their failure to succeed in getting rid of it.
And they're trying to treat a side effect really of the PTSD. Rather than attack the main cause of the PTSD, which is the aversive memories and the startle response, the high anxiety that goes along with it.
Yep. And the thing is, there's another factor in play here. Veterans, many do not wait for the legality to start to control this with their own cannabis use on the side. Now, if they're being prescribed antidepressants and then they go and smoke cannabis with them, it might appear to be working if they lie about their cannabis consumption because it's illegal. So it's just a whole new ball of wax we've never really seen before. And I will always say, err on the side of caution. But I agree, Ken. I don't see much choice. Veto, I am very sure, will not happen. Part of the fighter in me says, but if it does, we are really going to have some fun then. Not the good kind.
Yeah, no, it's not a good kind of fun. And it's certainly not something I'm looking forward to.
No, well, I don't think we really should have to worry about that particularly. What do you think about potential for a veto override? You followed the legislature on areas like this for as long as anybody. See any possibility for a veto override? I noticed the numbers, the 27 in the Senate got passed by 2. 27's the override, and because they got 29, and in the Assembly it's 57, and they got 56 votes passing it. But 11 of those did not vote that day. So there's 11 potential additional yes votes for an override. Yeah. I'm feeling the governor's fear of bullyship, bully. I had a nice word I made up.
Bullyism?
Bullyocracy. Yeah.
Bullyocracy.
His bullyocracy is becoming weaker.
That's great.
Yeah, and maybe.
Well, he is yet to be overridden. One of his vetoes have yet to be overridden.
I agree.
The unfortunate part, Jim, is that even senators and assemblymen who vote one way after the governor
in the past
vetoes
it, but that was when he had 3 years or another term. That's the bullyocracy. That's how it works. But now then their next election is going to be where he begins his lame duck session, so his bullyocracy ends then. That they're going to be in a position of trying to get reelected with people hopefully making light of the fact that they would vote one way and then for an override vote the other. So when, if they can feel potential repercussions, this may be when they start standing up. I agree with you. If I had a bet, smart money would be on the lack of backbone for an override.
Yeah.
On the other hand, let's send them out with one and this would be it. Well, we'll see.
Well, and I hope he signs it in a timely manner, because that would send a message to the health department and the panel that is impaneled to approve additional qualifying conditions that this really is a good faith effort.
Yeah.
And it has the governor's support to add appropriate qualifying conditions to the medicinal marijuana program.
We can quantitatively assess how he's doing. As you mentioned, it's a very short bill. It has X number of words in the entire bill. Now, suppose that was 500. If he takes a week, that means he's going through certain amount of words per day. At some point, we're going to be able to say if he read 10 words a day in this bill, he would have read that by now. So if he's saying, I'm going to read it and then make a decision, you're right.
Yeah.
He should not take more. I cannot see why it would take more than a week and a half to 2 weeks. If he gets started on it, if he's not distracted by national affairs that have nothing to do with his job here, many factors at play.
If he's in the state, and indeed, in the state at all, making a good example to the state employees who all work under him. They look to their bosses for that kind of role model. A man who shows up on time, a man who goes to his job, a man who isn't distracted by worries about things that are extraneous
or
to his job.
Or shiny things.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
Well, also though, even if he's out of state, he may get a taste of this here, what we're doing here today, because News 12, Channel 12 came by and did a pretty good sweeping view of the podcast and why we do this and what the cones mean and the bill. So.
Oh, good. You talked to TV 12 today?
They'll be on at 5 and 6 tonight, and then repeated later. So.
Oh, great.
Check in at 5 and 6 o'clock and see the view of the cones in the podcast on TV. Big coalition banner here. Don't shoot me, I'm white. Don't shoot me, I'm veteran. Shirt's going to be passing by. So it's going to be an interesting view. First time that's happened. So we'll see. What else is going? What else is going on? What else could be going on? I mean, this is it.
Well,
I don't care about the rest. I just say that.
Well, this is the month for the petitions, of course, to be.
Oh God, Ken, don't get me going.
Get them going. Get them going.
Really, you got to bring that up? It's a disgrace that we have to do this. I think it's a disgrace. I think it's horrible.
Well, it's the bureaucracy in action, and this is the bureaucratic way of addressing the issue. The Department of Health was empowered to add qualifying conditions at any time by the legislation in 2010.
I'm just liking this.
And
he won't let me talk to him about it. But
no, I don't like this. This is BS. We get to pick. We have to pick and choose what diseases and who suffers and who doesn't now. Me and Ken Wolski get to pick who suffers in Jersey. Yeah. So what diseases are you going to pick?
Well,
if you had your choice.
Well, let me tell you that
he does and he did.
I spoke with the Drug Policy Alliance recently, and the Drug Policy Alliance said that they have contracted with a physician in New Mexico to work on petitions to add PTSD and chronic pain as qualifying conditions. So, of course, these were two of the petitions that we had planned to work on as CMM&J members, and now we're freed up to work on other petitions.
Yeah, we've never
what's next?
We've never had successful coalescing very much over the history of our existence together with the DPA, and I, for one, really appreciate them reaching out and understanding. Listen, we're going the same direction. Why duplicate efforts? And reached out to us, and we were nothing but amenable, saying that now, if they're dealing with the pain, chronic pain, neuropathic pain, post-traumatic stress, should it need to be dealt with, we get to pick some lesser-known things just for the hell of it and go after them.
Like what? Arthritis, maybe?
Arthritis, osteoarthritis, yes.
Alzheimer's?
That would be a good one. Well, the ones that we are, first of all, I plan to submit one for osteoarthritis.
That's a good one.
Menstrual cramps for me.
You're going to submit
if nobody else does, I think it should be represented.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
And am I wrong about this? But if
chronic anxiety. Now, Bob Kane, one of our supporters from South Jersey, he has said that he's going to submit one for anxiety, chronic anxiety.
Nice. So wouldn't that be considered part of PTSD in a way? No, maybe.
I think the same people that could qualify PTSD would be qualified to do the same for an anxiety disorder.
There's probably a little overlap there.
Well, I mean,
there's some overlap, sure. But
grab a mic, Cleo. I can't hear you. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I know a ton of people that don't have PTSD that are diagnosed with anxiety, like under work pressure or like schoolwork or stuff like that. Like it may seem minimal to
That
like
would help,
some
yeah.
people, but
Yeah.
there are people that literally go through life without having to deal with some
It's similar
crazy shit, so-
symptoms to a
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
And also, as much as it sucks for us to like choose the symptoms and stuff, well, not symptoms, listed conditions, like in a way, it's you don't see how it's better seeing that the not councilmen, just like the fact that their constituents can pick it seems so much better to me, just because they've done such a terrible job of picking things so far as it is. That's all I gotta say. Yeah.
I don't like it.
Sounded a little Forrest Gump-like. That's all I
think it
have
should
to
be for
say. No, I
everybody.
mean, at the end,
I
that's
don't
what
like
you. I do that a lot, and I hear that. That's all I have to say. And people laugh at me because that's never all I have to say.
I don't like it. I'm walking in there with a dartboard, Ken Wolski,
Well, no.
I am.
Do you intend to submit any petitions?
with a dartboard.
I'll
At the
bet-
time,
I
I'm going
bet
to pick
they-
it at that moment. It's going to be picked. Boom.
They won't
There
let
it
you.
is.
They won't let you bring a dart
Yeah,
in.
well,
All right,
I'm sure.
I'll bring a hat with a bunch of names in it.
There you go.
I'll bring a hat and I'll pick it out. And here you go, committee member or whatever who's running the committee. Here you go. Here's my disease, herpes. Here you go.
The one you represent, I hope, not actually.
It says
yours.
here herpes is good for cannabis. Right here. That's another one.
Really?
Hiccups.
Cannabis is good for herpes, I
Hiccups?
guess.
Hiccups, herpes. Yeah. Yeah.
It's good for everything.
Hormones.
Yeah, it's when people say kidding around, I think you just make it okay for everything and pick out the ones that doesn't work for. It'd be easier. But it really
Well,
would. In effect,
no.
I say doctors should be able to pick out from their patients what they
Yes.
want to treat it from.
Please let the doctors choose.
Trying to do a physician's job as a legislator or a review panel for a health department cannot be as effective as the doctor who has the one-on-one relationship with a patient.
We're not qualified.
And if they can prescribe Schedule 1 dangerous, Schedule 2 dangerous narcotics, they should be able to add cannabis to it based on the fact that that would help them, in their opinion, get better pain relief. So, the whole physician registry and they're allowed to recommend this for. Do you realize, I don't believe there's much they're not allowed to recommend opioids for. In other words, there's not a lot of indications where you're not allowed. I'd like to recommend opioid for pain from lack of being born with hands or feet. Sorry, it's not on our list. It doesn't make sense. However, that being said, we do have the playing field before us, that we play on it according to what works, not how it should be. So on one hand, while I will gripe about it, it will not slow me down from going through the process that's before us.
Good.
And
Yeah.
doing that as well. But, I feel like I need to be clear with people about my reasons for going along with something, because I've gone along with the half-loaf theory, and I probably still would in some instances where others want it all and nothing until then. And, I just see it as somewhere in between, that I like getting people off the battlefield as we can. If we can get post-traumatic stress patients off the battlefield, we should.
Here you go. I got a choice for you. Migraines or Parkinson's? If you had a choice, migraines or Parkinson's?
Actually, we have Bob Kane said he may be doing one on migraines because he also suffers from migraine
They're
headaches.
debilitating.
And absolutely, they are debilitating.
I-
They can be disabling. You can be disabled, unable to work, unable to hold a job because of migraine headaches.
My wife is in bed from migraines.
I know. My girlfriend suffered from migraine headaches for many years.
They look horrible. I mean, I've never had what could be considered one, but I know people who are far better with pain than me, brought to their knees by migraine headache.
Sure. And that gets me when the governor and Governor Christie, well, before he was governor with Governor Corzine, and when they were debating in the gubernatorial debates, they joked about not allowing marijuana for headaches. But it was quite clear that neither one of them had ever suffered from a migraine. Neither one of them really had any appreciation of how debilitating a migraine headache can be, and the fact that marijuana can really help to prevent these migraine headaches. They can interrupt the headaches.
They just
for many
don't get
people.
rid of them. They can help prevent.
They can help prevent the migraine headaches.
Wow. That's the way to go.
They can interrupt them if it's taken early enough, and they can actually work to prevent the migraine headaches. So, it really is a legitimate thing, and marijuana does in fact help. It has many therapeutic applications, and I think we just have to accept the fact that there are incremental changes. As we overcome the decades of misinformation by the federal government, Lefty, and we overcome the decades of misinformation by our own government and by so many physicians who still insist that marijuana, should not be available until these tests are done, which can't get done. We have to accept that change is incremental, and that we're working to get more and more people access to the therapeutic benefits of marijuana.
Oh, I'll play along. I'm just going to point out their hypocrisy and their idiocracy while I do so.
Yeah. Well, I just saw
And their bullyocracy.
I just saw my photo posted on Facebook today that was done by the Cannabis Project, and I stood at a lake in South Jersey with a sign that said, legalizing cannabis is the best way to get the right medicine to the most people. And so, we're still committed to that as an organization. CMMNJ still does believe that legalization is the best way to really get the best medicine to the right medicine to the most people.
I was I only mention it in passing because it's something those of us who do advocate might make better use of. I was Associated Press, New Jersey News Associated Press guy called me up for an interview.
All right.
And what he was...
What's that?
It looks like it's probably Karen
That's
thinking
Karen.
thinking that's good music.
Oh, all right. Sorry. Anyway, I'm sorry.
But no, what I'm saying is that when I mentioned to him that while the governor says the reason we have low enrollment is because we are a truly medical program, and I would say that a good response to that is then shouldn't the state classification be changed from Schedule 1 statewide to Schedule 2? That when the state refuses to reclassify cannabis, Schedule 2, at the state level, they're agreeing that it has no medical use, no medical utility. So as long as the state has a program yet classifies it Schedule 1, I see a problem, and it needs to be addressed. We tried, they failed.
Right.
So how medical can our program be if the governor can't get behind doing this?
Yeah, Chris Goldstein and I had a meeting with the director of the Division of Consumer Affairs up in Newark right after the
That's who is in
marijuana bill
charge of
failed.
this.
That's who has the power to reschedule
Consumer
drugs.
Affairs.
Well, Consumer
sorry.
Affairs.
Why,
no,
why is that?
Yeah,
Well, Consumer Affairs has to do with licenses. They're the ones who license me as a registered nurse. They license physicians. That's
Really?
that's the division.
You
of,
got a
of
Consumer
state.
Affairs approval.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Right on.
So,
Okay.
so
I
anyway,
didn't know,
and they're
yeah.
also empowered to change the schedule of drugs in New Jersey. So we had a meeting, and the director was very interested in it, and he promised to have subsequent meetings. But after the first meeting, there were no more subsequent meetings.
These guys are too
Ken,
smart
Ken,
for us.
No. There were subsequent meetings. You just weren't
Yeah,
invited.
we weren't invited.
Well, you should have when we did the testimony at the Senate committee, and when the who was it, the New Jersey Physicians Psychiatric Association?
Yeah.
Right.
They when they came out, and said what they said, and we're all sitting there looking like, where is he getting this information? Or has no one's giving him the updated version of everything? And I don't think that Jim Miller was Jim was right on him as soon as it was over.
Yeah, when it was over
And
meetings adjourned.
I could tell that he was not prepared for someone who was as prepared as Jim was.
And I wasn't mean. I was
No,
just to the point.
not at all.
No.
Not at all.
were Jim.
You were very accommodating and hospitable in terms of how you were, addressing this gentleman.
Yeah.
And the thing is though is that to me the insult was the insult to my intelligence. That you came out here, you came to the seriousness of this meeting, and you showed up armed with old ways of thinking.
Yeah.
And not evolved. And you said all this stuff after you heard everything we just said.
Yeah, right.
And it was like, and I could understand why some of the committee members were looking a bit bewildered and asking him all these questions, and even the answers to his questions didn't make a whole lot of sense. And one senator, I can't remember his name, he just said, "Look, it's like a catch-22. In the meantime, you're saying we need to do this research, we got to get this research, and in the meantime, veterans are dying."
That was
and they don't
Senator Whelan. Was
okay,
saying that.
yeah, and it was like, and this is what the guy does. No.
Well, I did tell him that while his point would be well taken, that he was saying that veterans who are saying this is what helps them are put in a position of having to prove it to him before he supports that. He wants to see the numbers, not hear what veterans say. And I was just telling him, I'd like to hear you explain that to somebody in the throes of post-traumatic stress as you explained it.
Notice how he said it to you with me standing right there in the room.
Yeah, we didn't.
I'm in the room. I'm one of those people whom he needs to see. And he did not even, he didn't look my way. He made it a point to steer clear of me.
Well, he got poo-pooed, like we had so many years of being poo-pooed.
Well, they keep demanding exactly. They demand things that cannot be done.
Yeah.
And they know it.
Yeah. And the American Medical Association is the same way. In 2009, they said, no, we need adequate studies to be done, adequate controlled studies to be done, and we need to change marijuana's classification in 2009. But in 2011, the DEA said, no, we're not going to change this. We're not going to change marijuana's classification as a Schedule I drug. And so the DEA is still there. I mean, the AMA is still there saying, well, no, we need these studies that can't get done to get done before, we would allow for marijuana to be used by patients who can benefit from it.
Remember when I said oxymoronic politics? Yeah. And the thing is to see it played out right in front of you, that it's maddening.
One time, if I had any feeling of being able to make a statement to the right person at the right time, was when I was in a hospital with my catastrophic foot injury and was on a good deal of opiates and Zofran for the nausea that they would give me. So when a doctor came in and was, had his pad and he was asking questions, he said, so how's the Zofran working? At that moment, I had an urge to reach for the bucket, and I threw up as my answer. I mean, a long, loud vomit. And I looked at him with tears coming down my eyes and going, not so good, I could take care of this if it weren't for being in a hospital. And the irony of saying I could take care of my nausea if I weren't in a hospital, it wasn't lost on him.
You told him that at the time?
Yeah. Yeah. And originally,
how's it working for you?
Yeah, well, that was, it was immense too. I don't know if it was just my body saw the opportunity before I did and went to work early and helped me out, but also the man who fixed me through my haze of pain when I was telling him the same thing, and he suggested it would be good for me, and I said, but this is not an allowable condition, pain, general speaking. And his first question was, were there any doctors in on making that decision? He was angry. He realized that this could be an opportunity. And, as one of their hospital's main surgeons, he was offended because he sees a lot of pain. And when I went on to describe to him later how also it's good for rehabilitation, because a person sometimes is not willing to go much past and even approach their level of pain. It stiffens them. It's not good. When I went to rehab for my feet, I was there like I wanted to be there, and that was noticed by everybody. And when they really smiled was, you get on a bike, and I'm on a bike and I'm doing a certain speed, and there was a little old lady on a bike next to me. She was going a little faster than me. So I upped it to about the same speed, and I kind of looked at her, and she looked at me, and I looked away, and I went a little faster, and I noticed she was going faster. And then there were the two of us maniacally pedaling as quick as we could next to each other, while other people, So basically, the part that people don't want you to have, it makes you, helps you feel better. They call it euphoric. Yeah, euphoria fights pain as well as analgesia sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. Removing the anxiety from the pain
It's huge.
syndrome is absolutely important in diminishing the intensity of the pain. So, yeah, you're absolutely right, Jim. Marijuana works. It's very effective in reducing pain in different ways, not only with the pain, but with the anxiety and with the knowledge that you have the power to take this away. Patients who are on patient-controlled analgesia, that is to say, they can dose themselves however much they want. They use less analgesia than patients who have to wait for a nurse to come by and give them their pain medicine.
They get it when they need it.
Because they get it when they need it, and they know that it's available to them when they need it. So therefore, it removes the anxiety, the uncertainty of it. It's like, whenever I need it, it's there. So they don't have to use it. It just that comforting knowledge that they can deal with the pain when they need to.
It also helps when it's not going to be enough sometimes, even though it helps. Like when I had, it was every 10 minutes, and there was a like little plunger and a green light would go on. And it would never fully get rid of the pain, so I would continually wait for it to come back on. But it was almost like the start of a NASCAR race. I mean, I'd be there watching the green light, and it would go green, boop, and I'd start thumbing that thing and instantly feel better. Knowing that the green light was going to go on got me through that 10 minutes.
Yeah,
and
I was
that
just
I
about to
got
say
some
that,
degree.
yeah.
So while it wasn't enough, it's I think Ken is absolutely right that looking forward to the fact that when the pain happens, you can get rid of it, as opposed to have to fight for relief. It means a lot. And when I've been in pain, I instantly empathize with people who will not get better, and it will only get worse. I don't know how we put people like that in a position of having to prove why their pain accounts as much as somebody else's. I look forward to the hearings that the review panel is going to have.
Well, before we get to that, though, this really does present a good opportunity for patients to discuss with their physicians about their use of marijuana. Bob Kane said he talked to his doctor about using marijuana, and he asked him if he would Bob Kane's doctor would write a letter in support of his petition for the use of marijuana for chronic anxiety, and the physician said yes, he would. So that was very encouraging.
It is. That's good to hear.
It's opening a dialogue. We're using this process to open dialogues with physicians and patients about the use of marijuana for their conditions, and we can ask these doctors to support this, at least on an individual basis, even if the American Medical Association and some of the other large physician groups do not support the statewide approach to marijuana therapy. But a lot of statewide, and this not to say, even though medical societies across the country typically do not endorse medical marijuana, there are a number of physician organizations that do endorse medical marijuana, like the American College of Physicians, the American Academy of Family Physicians, the American Public Health Association, which has a number of physicians in it. These are organizations that have come on board in support of medical marijuana.
Is there the American Nurses Association? What is the national?
Oh, the nurses, yeah, the American Nurses Association. They endorsed medical marijuana in 2004, and about 20 state nurses associations have endorsed medical marijuana. So the nurses are really taking a leadership position on this in the absence of.
Well, you're a nurse. You can say we.
we nurses are taking a leadership position on this issue.
Yes,
and
you've
always,
been very effective, Ken.
And always have. And like I would say to the people that handled me in my 59 hospital days is when it comes to patient care, it's all about nurses, not doctors. And that smart doctors learn a lot about their patients from the nurses who are caring for them. So, while they're not doctors, I would always rather talk to a nurse than a doctor about anything to do with my condition. I'd rather talk to a nurse and let them approach the doctor.
Well, their bedside manner is a lot more likely to be nicer too.
In most cases.
Well, you know, we are the most trusted profession in the United States, nurses, according
That
to
was
Gallup polls, you know, consistently. And one of the reasons I think is that we are patient advocates.
Yes.
You know, we're non-judgmental. And we're supportive.
Not at all.
You know, we try to be supportive of our patients. We try to support them in what they're doing, what works for the patient. We try to
My
try to work
advocate
with
family
the
has
patient.
become my family.
Your
My advocate family here have become my family through the struggles, through the trials, through the oh my goodness, how can I do this? I just had an experience last Sunday, and I had just sent Lefty a text message, and I said, oh, why? How can we keep up fighting this hard? I was like, Lefty, I don't know if I could keep doing for much longer. It was just that bad of an interaction, and I couldn't believe this year, this day and time, a park ranger would be so uneducated. It just broke me down. It's hard. It gets hard being an advocate.
Yeah. So you had a bad
Well,
experience.
one of the mistakes we advocates make at times is thinking because we know something everybody else does. Ed Hahnemann comes to mind when we were back in Hamilton Fest, when we first met the candidate, Christy. And he was of the mind that we don't need to tell people that we have a program because everybody knows. And then when we were out there, he got an eyeful of how many people came up and said, we have a program?
Yeah.
And it was good that Ed could see that at the real level because he's a better advocate for it now, as are we all.
I spoke to that earlier about my experience having just moved back to the state and subsequently doing activism with you guys, and it's been my experience that most folks aren't even aware. Not most. I've come across a significant number of people who either are not aware that there's a state medicinal marijuana program and are quite surprised to find out when they do to find out that there is a program and that PTSD is not already enlisted. So it's just there's an assumption, amongst the general public that, okay, if a state has a medicinal marijuana program, PTSD is they assume that it's on there, and it isn't.
Marcel, I went to witness something that I could not believe existed. With all our advocate work we do, I wish we could get this many people to come here one Thursday. That Pokemon game was right down the street from my house. There's a major location apparently, so I said, take me there to see it. There's no handicap parking. Everything's like parked down the street. So I'm not even around any families or anything. There's George Washington crossed the Delaware right there, what you fought for, our fellow veterans.
Down near Washington Crossing?
It's at Red Bank National Park, and there's a butterfly display. There's a park. I went away from everyone, and I sat by myself, one of 3 people to watch the sunset, to have a park ranger run up on me and just go nuts. And before he had a chance to say anything, I put my hand on his back and I said, I know what you're about to say right now. I said, let me tell you before you say anything, I'm a patient, and if you're not educated on the law, I have something in my car that I can give you. And he freaks out. He said, no, it's not legal in New Jersey. Medical marijuana is not legal in New Jersey. I said, sir, here's my card if you'd like to see it. No, I can't see that. And I said, sir, I just medicated. He said, well, do you mind just not smoking here? You can't do that. There's children here. I said, sir, if you noticed, everyone is over there, and they're all addicted to their cell phone looking down. I'm over here by myself, already being an outcast and on a scooter because I can't walk around this place, with handicap tags on my truck, on my scooter, giving you my medical card. And then I look at him, I said, well, look up something called the Kumu Guidelines. Here's my business card. You know what he says? No, I don't need to do that. I have a legal department to do that, and that's just not allowed here. There's no way that can be allowed there. But yeah, I looked down at the ground. There were more than 50 cigarette butts everywhere.
That
a mother took a picture of me and called them.
That's called the redirect.
He was in shock. He was in utter oh my God, could not believe it. And then because he was uneducated about it, he just asked me, could I refrain?
You already did, yeah.
And then I have a case coming up on the 23rd of August where we were doing an Ignorance is No Excuse tour. And there's a video that you've seen, I'm sure, I hope, that I need people to get together with me to maybe sit down so I can have cue cards, point out things I might miss, because the state troopers, after I passed over 8 sobriety tests, and everyone in the car had not one warrant or not one ticket and were completely legit in every way, they still proceeded to give me 4 to 5 excuses and write me a careless driving with endangering others ticket while I was parked at a Wawa gas pump. All because we did an ignorance is no excuse tour at their station where their police officers were not educated that we had a medical marijuana program. And they sent every rookie after us because we had over 4, I think there were 6 by the end of it, but originally 4, then a 5th came, and I believe a 6th, but at least 5 I know of, cops swarm us. And on me, I had 3 separate cops give me sobriety tests. I did them even though I am disabled. And I passed them, and after I passed them, because their sergeant said go stick them out in the woods, and we were smart enough to park at a private property next to the police station, they didn't know what to do. So they just came back with a ticket and told me, be grateful I gave you that. I could have wrote you up for this, that, and the third.
Oh yeah, that's the save face part. See, there's the redirect, and then there's the save face. And the thing is that when you come across folks who are running off of an old adage, in terms of a poor assumption on whether or not cannabis is legal or not.
Well, they were caught in the crossfires because their upper level told them to go get us.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm speaking to. Yeah. So so here's the thing. The attitude is a direct reflection of leadership.
Amen.
Always remember that.
Amen.
And so when you're dealing with law enforcement, when you're dealing with legislators, when you're dealing with, any of that type, on the political side, you always have to ask yourself, attitude reflects leadership. So who here made it okay for you
the
to
guys
conduct
that got
yourself
themselves upset until the chief came out because we were there doing a simple tour because a lady that was in their town had a problem with them with her husband that night, and they were with us and they were pointing the fact out. And then when the chief comes out after everybody else is dumbfounded and telling us no, and he knows the law a little bit, I guess, or understands a little bit about the law, he said, oh no, go out by the front sign, take your pictures, be free, blah, 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 blah. And as soon as we walked off that property, and my peripheral caught them out of my right eye, and that's my father from up above. Thank you, Dad, and your fallen forces. And he was like, Jesse, you got a half tank of gas. I might as well fill it up because I had a 2-hour drive ahead of me, and I did. I backed up. No one's behind me. Why would I dare pull out into a public street when I could back up onto private property to pull up to a gas pump?
To be a rebel.
They said that's what I should have done, I guess. That's what they told me.
Yeah, that's we're going to make something up real quick again.
Amen.
The redirect, the save face, and then there's the revenge for embarrassing me. So all those things play a part.
We rescheduled our CMMNJ TV taping from 8:23 for you,
Oh,
Jesse.
thank you. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so Lefty's going to be free to go to the court. Now, where exactly is the court?
It's Southampton Municipal Building.
Southampton Municipal Building, Southampton, New Jersey.
I'm trying to read it off my. It's the 23rd of August, and I have to be there at 8:30. Court will start at 9. The room will be full. Not one person will represent themselves or plead not guilty. It's a shame. I've seen it now twice. The officer was supposed to be there at the last date, and because they misplaced my file the first time, I guess they considered that a oops. And then this time they said, oh, I can plea it down, the same old. I said, no, I'm pleading not guilty. And he said, well, the officer's not here. We'll have to get him here another date for trial. Well, when the officer gets there, I can't wait to have my projector up with the video playing, but I would like some help with like getting some cue cards, maybe editing some parts of it to have for the judge to be like, well, then why, officer, did you say this? And cut to that part of the video because I have the equipment to do that. And I want to bring that in court because if the cheapest public defender fee was $250. And after I saw that public defender work 2 times, there was no way. And I didn't have that money after being a patient and everything I've paid already. So why can't I represent myself when my dad was an officer and taught me how to not break the law? So I hope it works.
It will.
Well, Lefty's very good at editing, so if you need that video edited,
Great.
I'm sure that he'd be able to do that for you.
Yeah, I would definitely get that into.
You can come,
so.
Marcel. I need all the support. I want people there because I want to have character witnesses. I have to be like an attorney. I want people to say what type of person I am. I mean, look, I want to get my driving record printed out. There's no tickets. There's no accidents. They can't. I mean,
Good for you, Jesse.
you know, I mean, what are you talking about? I'm carelessly driving. I haven't had tickets since high school, and I'm 34 years old. Are you serious?
This is the 23rd
Of August.
Yeah. OJ's birthday.
Oh, LJ is gonna be with me. I'm gonna win now. Thank you. That changes everything.
I'm actually gonna be down there.
Oh, will you? Well, eat some soul food for me then on the 23rd. If you don't eat some cornbread, I'm gonna kick your butt. Some black eyed peas too, please. And add some sweet tea in there while you're at it, and some banana pudding. I'm putting my order in right now from a distance. Oh, Mama, I know you're watching down on me. Oh, we gotta stop. A soul food restaurant just opened up in Woodbury, by the way.
Yeah.
They're not often.
Okay.
FYI.
Now, any new news, Ken?
Yeah.
Well, there's going to be a patient outreach at the New Jersey Weedman's Joint in Trenton on August the 16th to the 17th.
Outreach for more information.
Patient outreach.
Yeah,
Okay.
Patient
Yeah.
outreach. So
Get the word out.
Yeah, we were talking earlier about nobody knows, very few people know that there is a medicinal marijuana program, and because the New Jersey Department of Health, not only do they not do patient outreach, but
Hi there.
it's very difficult to find any information on the Department of Health website. If you go to the Department of Health website,
I did that, and it's like
My own
wait a
doctor
minute.
had trouble. My own family
Yeah.
doctor signing up for the program.
Yeah,
where is
A
this?
physician.
yeah. Like when you look at like things like that help to explain why nobody knows.
Right.
It helps to explain why folks are surprised to find out the
And
things
why
that
they're
it-
still suffering.
Yeah, and also one of the things that I brought up, we've spoken at length about this, is expanding the verbiage and that with what's already written on the books, as far as like with ISS and folks not understanding that their condition actually relates to
Well, that's
ISS.
why I want to
and-
open up Compassionate Care Center so that it
Yeah.
can be an informational one-stop shop.
Yeah.
And as soon as my
Yeah.
doctor's application goes through, it
Yeah.
will be in Woodbury, New Jersey, and it's going to be amazing. But we are just waiting on the state's approval for his license.
Yeah,
So it's-
and
all it is a narcotic approval number that he has to pay for.
oh, wow.
He already has, but I guess he has to pay them.
Oh wow. Okay.
So
yes.
your doctor is joining the medicinal marijuana
He sure
program?
is. His son's a
Good.
sufferer. I went in there kind of rogue with some tincture and some CBD capsules, but now at the end of August, Belmar will be producing for children. They will be having the medicine out and
Oh,
available.
Okay.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that. That'll be
Okay.
a big step forward
Okay,
here
yeah,
in New
yeah,
Jersey
yeah,
when,
yeah.
when the edibles
Yeah.
start to become
Lozenges, 2 types of different choices, being tincture or cream. And I also believe they said further on in the year they'll have 2 other options. But OSHA at least gave them the final approval, and they'll be pumping out the medicine for the children. Oh, and
heard
children
oil.
pay $40. They get a major discount in price. Minors.
The end of this month.
Yeah, at the end of August, we
Yes.
really?
expect to have edibles
For edibles?
available from Compassionate Sciences
In Belmar,
in
New
Belmar,
Jersey.
New Jersey. Yeah.
The big question is going to be, I think, is people need to know where to get certain kinds of oil generally because of cancer concerns.
Mm-hmm.
And are they going to be able at one point to do that? Because that's really where it's at. I mean, what do you tell somebody when they say, I'd like to add cancer? I've heard of Rick Simpson oil, and, what do I do?
They refer them to Colorado.
Yeah, well, I mean, you could do that and say, excuse me, little 88-year-old lady with no money, can
Exactly.
you go to Colorado?
Real quick, just go.
I'm just saying this problem does need to be acknowledged, and they can have lozenges and whatever, but for a person with cancer, I know if my mom said I have cancer or somebody in my family said, I'd probably be able to take care of them, but honestly, I wouldn't know where to start myself right now.
We
don't have a good underground network in place, and as we shouldn't have to.
Yeah, I was gonna say, could you imagine? See, here's the thing. Remember when I said sometimes when you talk to folks and you talk to them about cannabis and the benefits and stuff like that, it's hard to get through to them because they have the Cheech and Chong image that comes into
Everyone,
their
down
head.
to that park ranger, he looked at me like he was looking at the movie Dazed and Confused.
Yeah, and now here's the
And
thing.
treating me that way after I was already in a section by myself when this entire park is overran with people playing Pokemon, not speaking to each other, and I'm enjoying the sunset, and a patient outcasted.
But how do we, again, back to the point of what do we do for people who need this now
Yeah.
in New Jersey, and they are going to have
Compassionate Science.
Edibles made. Maybe if you could approach Compassionate Sciences, because you seem to have their ear better than most. Ask them about that and say, you realize there are forms of
the delivery
oil.
methods.
Oh, they've been
forms of oil specifically that help people with cancer. Are they going to be prepared to make that?
They are being right now regulated by OSHA to the point of like a noose around your neck. They're able to just.
I understand that,
The
but
lab's been there
that doesn't mean they can't make the effort, because that'd be like us
Gretchen
saying we're
Chadwick
not going to be
is-
successful, so let's not do anything.
No,
Right,
Gretchen,
right.
she went out and took
That doesn't hold
herself out
water.
to Colorado to do a couple educational classes. She's doing an informational class, I believe, at the VFW. I'm not sure of the date. I can look it up. You can look at Compassionate Sciences Facebook or website. And the only thing is they're not allowed to market for anything that they try to do as far as outreach, because they are a dispensary. But with what they're being able to be made, the lab is ready to do way more, but they're getting out there as much as they can. Just having that lab open now is a miracle, because prior to that, it's just been sitting there collecting dust. The private owner bought the equipment, was sitting there ready to go, thought that minors were ones that should be addressed soon to help them hopefully save their life. And then our holdup the whole time was OSHA.
Well-
And I've never worked with OSHA except for Hurricane Katrina. When did they become involved with the medical marijuana program?
Well, that's a good
Bus-
question. And
business,
it's-
any business practice, anything to do with safety in the workplace.
Yes, they
But
come
you-
in.
Safety in the workplace would be it.
Well, but it is a big step because
It is, sure it is.
marijuana is federally illegal. So for a federal agency to go in and give their blessing
yeah,
to
yeah.
A plant that is manufacturing something that
this
they
is-
consider to be
yeah.
illegal, that's a big step, I
Yeah,
think.
don't think I don't appreciate incremental steps when I really want to hurry up the next step. It just seems to me that there shouldn't be days or weeks in between where nothing's happening, and people that are dying of cancer and they've heard about this oil. To be able to, in effect, we're going, nah, nah, nah,
I have a friend,
nah,
Eric
you
Miser,
can't get it.
that had that GoFundMe account that is a New Jersey resident, and he went out to Colorado, and he is not going with mainstream treatment. He has 2 different types of cancer, and he's treating them only with the oils and the training he received there. And that he had to have a GoFundMe account, and mostly relatives are the ones that donated, and that's a shame.
Yeah.
Well, it just again makes it seem like nah,
Yeah.
you don't have a GoFundMe account. You
Here.
can't
But
get it.
I
you know?
wanted to make the point about Jessie's nice relationship with her doctor. We need letters from physicians for these qualifying conditions to submit with our petitions. So I know
He's willing to help in any way he can, he said.
Yeah, because I was going to submit one for osteoarthritis, but perhaps he would be amenable to that. And I know Leo, we talked about submitting a petition for sickle cell disease. That would
Sickle cell would be amazing.
Yeah, sickle cell crisis.
That would be a
marijuana
miracle.
can be very helpful for that. So. We're going to need some help getting those petitions in a proper way, in a timely manner.
I've learned it's all about words. It's like getting your words into them the right way, easy and gentle, because everybody are so standoffish. Not everyone, but the higher officials. It's just the years and years of the 1930 reefer madness. That idea still exists today.
Well, when you look at the, there's actually a particular format in which, your recommendation has to be submitted. So if you're worried, that should help to alleviate some of the worry or the concern in regards to how you're going to write up your submission, because there is a particular format that they're wanting them to be in. So that's good. And again, we also have to educate, the general populace on the different delivery methods. As far as edibles and oils and topical creams and lotions and stuff, there's so many ways, and it's not, take the image of the joint in the person's mouth out. Get rid of that image, because there's so much more. No one is going to give a child who suffers from epilepsy, seizures and stuff. No one's actually going to stick a joint in that child's mouth.
But guess what? They're thinking that.
That's how. Yeah, and I was going to say, the thing is that that's exactly what people think.
My
And it's like, wait a minute, we're talking about children here. Granted, I might go hard when it comes to advocating for the addition of cannabis to the state's medicinal marijuana program. And yes, I go hard when I advocate on behalf of veterans. And yes, I go hard when it comes to advocating on behalf of children. But here's the thing. At no point do I ever think, I'm an adult, I'm a father, I have 2 kids. And I would never think to stick a joint in my kid's mouth. But the way some of these people talk, especially when it comes to that subject in of itself, it blows my mind. Like, you really think that like when I advocate on behalf, that you really think I'm gonna stick a joint in a kid's mouth? Are you kidding me?
This is coming from someone my age. My cousin, my first cousin, he had a terrible car accident. Half his skull got removed. He wasn't supposed to make it. He had a stroke. He can't use half his side. He was a test dummy for this particular type of pump to help him, and it helped him, so he's doing the surgery this week. But because of all my advocate work and because of all my pictures, he has the cojones to send me this. He said, okay, here. He asked me, is there a difference, that medicine that you had that trial for, is there any difference between medical marijuana and marijuana? Is it basically just medicine mixed with marijuana? You get a prescription for something that covers the ailment. So basically you smoke the drug, or is there other ways that you can ingest it? Does it get you high like regular marijuana? Is medical marijuana the same? I don't understand anything, because all it tells us down here is that marijuana is a drug, and you're telling me there's more ways than just smoking it. And I went off and I said, yes, Matt, there's oils, there's edibles. And this is a guy who has half a skull.
Yeah, there's candy,
who's
there's
been
soda.
through over 160 surgeries to be alive since high school. He was supposed to be a genius, and he just happened to get in a car accident. And because of that, he just...
Yeah, there's candy,
He's
there's
uneducated
soda.
because he's been in the medical big pharma system, and he's had no choice because he's been laying in a hospital bed situation. But now, because of my craziness that he's seen and seeing it work, he's asking me now, and he's getting interested because he's about to get this pump permanently put inside of him, and he's a little bit worried.
Wow, yeah.
He's a little bit worried.
I understand.
I would say a lot of it worried.
Yeah, and like I said, it's just we're dealing with an unevolved way of thinking and doing things. And so, having to re-educate or educate folks on, the positive usage of cannabis, we have to, break down a lot of old school barriers and old school ways of thinking to bring people up to 2016. That's really what it boils down to. A lot of people don't know, and what they do know is outdated news or work.
That's actually easy to happen the further along we go, because some of last month's news is even outdated by now. So the job just gets harder rather than easier to keep people currently informed, because current changes so quickly now. It's like I wish more people. I know Lefty probably goes back this far now. Ken does that. You would be thrilled when something new happened in any given month, and then days and weeks would go by without one word of anything in the country different than the month before. And now it's just like you cannot keep up with it. If you're going to go out of your own state, you're going to go crazy trying to keep up with what's going on. So I'm kind of enjoying that, the influx of information, kind of like in a book called Future Shock, that when it comes along quicker than you can receive it, what happens, information. And we're in that age now.
Yeah.
Except for the governor, because he has to take time to read a bill that if he reads 20 words per day, we'll get an answer pretty quick.
Where's our libertarian friend? Hisham?
No,
Hisham was supposed to come?
I don't believe he showed up. Or maybe he showed up and walked on by and said, I'm not going to stop there. He would be somebody from the Libertarian Party that was going to explain their current positions and how they might be able to affect things, and How much can we up? Ken, I believe perhaps coming behind you. Sneaking up on Ken from behind.
Possibly.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, excellent.
Is that Hisham?
I don't know. I don't want a profile.
Well, we are waiting for someone at 1:30, a libertarian. I'm pretty libertarian. I've been libertarian since '88. I voted libertarian.
Right? I've always thought there were 3. Yeah, pick one.
Here's your other pamphlet.
Is that Hisham? Is he here? Yes.
Yes, and
He's here.
we do have free hemp bracelets, and if you smile like that, you can take 2.
Hello there. Have a seat.
Yes, come on. All you gotta do is show up, Jesse.
Hey.
Hisham, I'm Lefty. Nice to meet you, buddy.
Hi, my pleasure.
How are you?
Marcel?
Hi, Jim Miller, Coalition for Medical Marijuana, co-founder. That's the best I got right now, but
Hey, whoever got my name right when they were pronouncing it just now, kudos,
Hisham.
thank you.
yeah.
It's Hisham, right?
Yeah, Hisham, pretty
Hisham.
cool.
Yeah.
Hisham.
Good job.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
So, what brings you here? Something to do with the Libertarian Party is what we know.
Yes, so
We're cool with the Libertarian Party right off, I may say that.
Yes, sir.
And I ran for state
You're
senate.
amongst friends.
I ran for state
Yeah.
senate in 2009, I think it was, as a Libertarian.
yeah, Mike mentioned that.
Yeah, I got 4.26% of the vote. That's not bad.
That's pretty good.
Really?
Anything over 1% for a third party
It
is
really is. Yeah.
amazing.
I kicked ass.
Anyway, the bill sitting on Christie's desk has started kicking up some dust,
Really?
and that's what brings me here.
Yeah. So
And I was
what's
just wondering what kind of moves we can make to make it happen.
Well, right now, obviously, it would be encouraging the governor to sign it, but I say that because that's standard response and expected. We're not going to convince him or unconvince him really to do anything, but what we do with any kind of effort that looks like that, the perception we're trying to convince him, is we give him political cover. The more that we push him, the more he has political cover to say people are crying out for this. He has to talk about the pressure he's receiving, but then he doesn't want to look like he's being pushed into something. So it's a delicate situation with him, but basically the standard, just any calls to the governor's office, any number that you might have for the governor's office to say that anybody could say, I think he should sign the post-traumatic stress bill that would add that to the medical marijuana program. No matter how you say that, even if you don't know the bill number, it gets in that box, and then there'll be a certain amount of calls. So that's the obvious. I think the more veterans that start taking part a little bit now, if they were waiting for an entry point, it would be to perhaps to show up.
Now would be that time.
We don't know. I'll tell you though, for everything we do know, we're all looking around thinking, so we don't have a go-to guy on how a bill becomes law. What happens now? It's on the governor's desk. Gee, Jim, how long does it have, Ken?
Well, how long did Jenny Barber's bill sit on his desk?
It went 137 days, but
Whoa.
that was in a lame duck session, though. There's different rules.
Yeah,
for when you reach
that
the lame duck
extends the
session.
time.
It also
Okay.
has to do with whether you're in session or not, and the clock doesn't start until you are in session. So until the full legislature is in session, I don't really know when the starting gun goes off. I was hoping it didn't matter because of the time sensitivity of the bill itself, that the governor would realize that no matter what he does, waiting to do it will not
Right.
work for him in any way.
Right.
If he's going to wait and veto it, he could have vetoed it right off. If he's going to wait and pass it, like Ken says, he's going to read the bill. I don't think it takes more than, if you read every word and try to put it in context, wouldn't take 7 minutes. So. And when he says, I'm going to read the bill, we all know that means he's going to have somebody read it and advise him.
His team of lawyers.
I think there's actually some precedent for him waiting a period of time and then signing it just to make certain groups sweat a little bit.
Yeah, and also make it look like he was doing a calculation of some sort. When we had the law that was sitting on his desk for 137 days because we updated it 7 days at a time with each podcast, that was to allow medical marijuana to be taken on school property. That was a big deal, and New Jersey actually became the first state in the country to have such a law where it's specifically legal to do. So as much as we pushed him to do that, after 137 days, all he's got to do is say with a straight face, I really wanted to be sure. And that sounds like he's doing his homework. I mean, it's all perception. So, we try to offer a counterbalance perception, that even if it's not disrespectful to veterans, what he does, we'll portray it that way. It's how the game's played, and he knows it, we know it. And while I personally believe it to be disrespectful, I don't know, how do you go about doing it without it sounding like an ultimatum that if you veto it, we're going to have to react, and here's how. I mean, I've never been one to shy away from saying, here's what comes next.
Well, whatever the plan would be, it doesn't need to be announced. It just needs to be implemented. Because here's the thing: he's not going to say no without having thought completely out the repercussions.
We're not going to be able to push him anywhere. He will not want to appear like he's being pushed. So the more we demand, the less he's likely to do exactly what we're asking. Maybe we should demand that he make a change to it because he's not smart enough to know it's perfect the way it is. Say, yes, I am, and maybe he'll sign it. You think that could happen? I don't know.
Reverse psychology? Is that what that is?
Maybe. You never know. It works
I
with
don't know.
him.
That could be just appearing to the dumb as a rock principle. It's our focus is so narrow now.
Good afternoon,
I think
gentlemen.
We're a little bit lost because the first push was to make sure it got in committees. And that took work with our friends, and then to make sure that it got out of committee, and to make sure it got a vote on the floor. And now all that's done, and it's him signing it or not. It's such a narrow focus.
Yeah.
That I think really the best thing we can do is keep it in the public eye any way we can, and we're always open to suggestions. Let's get libertarian here for a minute. I approached it because that's what we're here for. While you're on.
Cool.
I went to the Libertarian State Convention with Ken to speak, and my goal was to get them to have their candidates put medical marijuana front and center because it's such a good issue, and it very well fits in with their personal freedom philosophy. And I was asked by Lou Jasikoff, who was the either the head of the party then or about to, or he was a real mover, shaker. He's a good fast Eddie, the kind of guy you need to get things done. And he said, why don't you run? And I said, I actually have lots of reasons why I should not, but I'll give you 10 minutes, convince me. And we sat down, and he appealed to my, why should I be asking others to do something for me if I'm not willing to do it for myself? So I hoped I would come in under radar for certain reasons, and went out and had a no money raised, no money spent campaign. Included walking across the state from Seaside to hand in my signatures on June 5th, in the end of May. And, it was just all medical marijuana all the time for me. I was shameless. It's like, well, Jim, what do you think about widening of Route 9 through Toms River? That's been an issue for 30 years. I've grown up in Toms River, and, that's a very interesting question. And I asked my wife that one day when we were riding down Route 9, and she said, ow, because she was in pain from multiple sclerosis and didn't have any medical marijuana to help her. Oh, so no matter what the question was, I could bring it around, to the point I was just messing with the editorial staff at Asbury Park Press, and I gave an answer that didn't have anything to do with medical marijuana, and they were writing, and then I went, medical marijuana. Guy threw his pen down. I knew you were going to do that. I knew you were going to do that. But shameless as it was, 4.26% of the vote. My point, and Lou and I realized might be a good point in a different election, what if it was a close election? What if it was decided by 48 to 47? And I would say I had 4.26%. If either of you had bothered to take this issue as your own, I would have dropped out. I told them both that. You take this as your issue, I'll drop out and support you. Neither did. That your support of medical marijuana and now cannabis at all could mean the difference in your election, whether you support it or not. It's there. It's a fumble. Pick it up. Run with it. So are the Libertarians looking forward to a good crop of candidates this year, and are they going to be talking about cannabis? What do you think?
Absolutely. We have a candidate running in almost every congressional district for Congress.
Nice.
So pretty much anywhere you live in Jersey, you'll have somebody to vote for Congress.
Are you you think Libertarian or any third-party candidates? I see an opportunity with the presidential election going like it's going. There's going to be a lot of people turned off looking for third-party representation compared to past years. Many are just going to vote against who they dislike most, no matter who the other one would be. I myself always vote third-party if I'm not going to say throw everybody out and then vote in people from the same party. So I'd like to think that there's a way y'all can figure out how to make a very obvious tie-in to that. You know, are you satisfied with the head of the Republican ticket? Are you satisfied with the head of the Democratic ticket? Could there be anybody worse than the two worst? I mean, when you have the lowest approval ratings of two, the worst two in the history, that makes anybody else by default a much better choice. I've met Gary Johnson, and I really liked him a lot. He was one of the guys when I met him 2001, 2000, maybe at a national normal conference. It wasn't that I liked him because he was free with his time. The man's a good listener. You know, with former Governor Weldon, is it? They got a great ticket this year at the top. I'm hoping that will roll downhill. And you're talking about congressional districts. That's really where, hopefully, you can get that into the discussion and put Republicans and Democrats in defense of the head of their ticket. Whether or not that's fair or not, who cares? It's something that I would just love to see the threshold reached in elections that make it easier next time around. Do you know what that is? In other words, is it 10% of the vote, 15%? I know, like, to get into national debate, they put 15% in whatever major polls. But there's a certain amount of work you have to do to get on the ticket that I don't believe Republicans and Democrats have to petition to have their name placed on the ballot.
So 5% in the next election will get us major party status, which means automatic ballot access and a couple other little nifty.
5% meaning across the board 5%? Or in other words, if you got 5% in one district, would that mean anything at all?
No, it would be 5% of the popular
total.
vote.
You know, I got to tell you, is that possible? It sounds possible. I know 5 seems like a little number to people. Having got 4.26% of the vote, I know how big a number that can be.
Yeah.
And yet, this is a special year. This is the year for third-party candidates to really be that alternative. So that'd be great because, like I explained when I was running as a Libertarian, the reason people should vote for me is I would have a Republican and a Democrat on my staff. When there was something to hash out, I'd listen, I'd ask questions, I'd listen more, and I'd make my decision based on what diehard Republican and Democrat put before me. So other people could say, what are you going to, I said, what are you going to do? Say, what's the Democratic plan? The Democrat's going to tell you, you know, why it's good, and Republicans tell you why Republicans plan good. So you got to ask somebody who's neither. That would be a third party. That would be me. So you knew somebody had a Republican and a Democrat on their staff. Start with them and say, would you turn up? And then go to the others. So, you know, good luck to everybody down the line with that. So you're affiliated with the party but not actually running for office?
No, I'm not running for office. I'm in grad school, so most of my time's tied up with that.
Wow, really?
But going back to what you said earlier about making it an issue, I think marijuana is a big issue for Gary Johnson. He's brought it up in pretty much every lengthy interview or media appearance he's had. And going further, it's like our chairman of our national party said, we can walk and chew gum at the same time. So the better the presidential candidate does, the better the local and state candidates do.
I agree.
So there's a very good chance that we can make that a major campaign platform plank.
What the top of your ticket, Gary Johnson and Governor Weldon, what do they have planned? Anything big coming up, or rallies, a debate, anything? Yeah, because this is actually the slow part of the election now, between now and after Labor Day. So, is this anything we can look forward to in that time, or?
Off the top of my head, I'm not sure, but last night, I hope everybody tuned into the town hall that was on CNN.
I couldn't, but this is going to be up for rebroadcast. I mean, in other words, I will be able to watch it, not live now. But how'd that work out?
I think it worked out great, and I heard a report. I'm not sure if it's 100% true, but I think the Green Party might have Gary Johnson to thank, because I heard they're getting a town hall, and I honestly don't think that would have happened without Gary Johnson running as a Libertarian and getting the airtime.
This
on
is
CNN.
a crazy election, and now you have the first woman president, and then Jill Stein running as a woman head of the Green Party ticket. But Gary Johnson, when he talks about his how he treats himself physically and climbed like the highest mountain in just about every continent, and that he doesn't hide behind, I smoked it once or twice. He's like, yes, I've used it in my life and been able to integrate it. Now, of course, I don't, especially for purposes of being elected, and I would not be smoking marijuana if I were elected. He's also showing that it's not a big deal to yes or no as an individual choice. It's not like, well, once you smoke, you got to smoke every day forever. And he's just that voice of reason that's been missing from any other major party candidate who has to admit they inhaled. And it's a relief to see somebody like Gary Johnson. While he, of course, is Libertarian candidate, he's still thought of as a Republican governor. And for a Republican to be a voice of reason for personal freedom, actually, and then live that himself, I think he's a great candidate. So, we can't say too much. We can't, CMMJ anyway, can't endorse specific candidates, but we do examine their positions.
I do.
And anybody else. And Lefty's free to say whatever he wants.
I like Gary Johnson. I've been a Libertarian since '88. Here's my favorite Gary Johnson quote right here. This is it right here.
On my part, when I called him a pussy. Donald Trump's a pussy.
I like that.
My friend is actually a huge fan of that. Actually.
Are you kidding? Well, see, we have a backstory here you may or may not be aware of. When the governor came in one time, perhaps the first time we were doing this, and he absolutely ignored. I mean, he walked by as if we weren't there.
Yeah, he walked past Leo.
Walked by Leo and announced veteran with this as an issue, and he just walked on by. And as he reached the door, Lefty said, "Come on back out! Don't be a pussy."
Trump's a pussy.
And yeah, right. So that Lefty's saying that, and what he's doing is he's rubbing my face in it, and I would do the same if I were him. Because while I appreciated the remark, I was of the mind that, I don't really want to call a guy a pussy. It's gonna push him away. But then Lefty, of course, pointed out he was actually already up into the doorway. He's right in that neutral zone. And I don't know anybody that didn't think that was perfect. I mean, I was an island, And
he is a pussy.
Then I've come to see that.
Cat.
It was, and then to see Gary Johnson just embracing the attitude himself. I liked him when he had his own version of a shadow debate last time out, where he was not allowed in the debates, and he did a live online response. So he'd be hearing the question and giving his answer real quick while the others were. And it would have been great to see him in that debate. I hope there's a chance of that happening at some point, but I know two people that would rather it didn't, and they would be the two lowest approved candidates in history, the ones who are at the top of the major party tickets. That's crazy. How do you have the two lowest ratings of anybody against each other? It's sort of like other candidates had to be drooling, and then there's a certain amount of bioremorse going on in the Republican Party where people are going, it could have been
It's
John
like the two
Kasich.
ugliest chicks going for prom queen.
With nice smiles, I hope.
Well, it's a combination of name recognition and the two-party system. I mean, if you look at the primaries, the biggest name out of the Democrats won.
Yeah,
Hillary beat Bernie.
Yeah. And also,
the biggest name out of the Republicans won.
Within the Libertarian Party, I think we got two of the most respected and big names. No offense to Bob Barr, I had personal history with him.
Bob Barr has
And
gone too far.
yeah, right. I mean, I got
Bob Barr has
arrested
gone
at
too
his
far.
office, posting, being the issue. What got me then, though, I got to say, was I was on the computer. He had a lot of, when I would say something about medical marijuana, people, Bob Barr's people, libertarians, were peeing on me as quick as they could, as if this was my issue. And I'm not. No, whoa. I just went and talked to Bob Barr last year at Columbia Law School, where he came out as, you got to stop the federal government from taking away your state's rights to medical marijuana. It is a slippery slope, and if you give in there, and I'm, whoa, it was a 180 turn. So I wanted to work with him on this. I wanted everybody to work, and I was just surprised at the viciousness of the attacks on me by administrators of the website. But I think that had more to do with Bob Barr than the issue, because right now, this year, Libertarian Party's looking good to me. Green Party as well. But Libertarians have always been the party out in front of cannabis issues, bar none, especially with the two main parties, which is why we tried to convince them years ago to get people to get behind us more than usual, that it would really help. And I want to see some libertarians active. I want to pick up the paper and read about that Democratic candidate.
How far down the road do you see across the board legalization in Jersey?
You know what? I could see it happening in the next term of a Democratic governor. Whether or not it would be 3 years or 7.5 years of a 2-year term, I don't know. But I think the progress will be less incremental, and I'm not espousing Democrats over Republicans in particular. I'm just being pragmatic as to past history, and look at roll call votes, if anything, having to do with medical marijuana. It's you know, it really would depend on the head of the ticket, and I think we're in pretty good position to at least get it to be considered. I'd like to actually have the question be, Jim, how long do you think it's going to be till you actually hear a real debate, top level, in New Jersey on this issue? In other words, where we hear a proponent and an opponent going at it. I want to hear that. There's no courage of conviction by opponents to step up to a table, ever. And if they want to start stepping up to the table, I think they'll be easy pickings.
Won't be Christie. It won't be while he's here.
No,
I don't see anything on a major level happening with it.
Yeah, but what I like about while he is here, what we need to do is offer the repercussions that when he's gone, we look at the other candidates and go, "You want a piece of that? You want a piece of that? Because we'll give you a piece of that too. Are you with us or against us?" So others are watching how it goes, and they know he's not going to react. You know, when 25,000 union employees showed up here, 25,000, it was immense. I had a piece of pizza and watched TV. It was no big deal. He was like, I don't care. And he doesn't seem to care and react like that, so I agree. Obviously never in his case. Is that in my head or is that real? This is the part of the show where Lefty does some thank yous to people who support us. And he plays this song. And it will be in my head for at least 36 hours.
Hisham, I'm sorry, Hisham. This is going to be in your head. Sorry.
Wait. I mean, can we have a little bit of a throwback? Because you remember what the song used to be, yo?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. How about, Throwback Thursday?
I will get to that. Let me ask you a question. Where are you from? You're from America, but where are you from, originally?
My father was born in Egypt.
Egypt, okay. You have music like this in Egypt?
We have our versions.
May I say right off, while we're going to thank our sponsors,
he's way too happy right now,
including CMMJ, that the CMMJ monthly meeting is the second Tuesday of every month, which would be this next coming Tuesday at the Mercer County Library. Very easy to get to, off 295 and Route 1 is like right there. So come one, come all. We're an open meeting. We're a lot of fun, and sometimes we have snacks every now and then. When Alan Moraine comes, we have pizza. But I can't say that's going to be the case.
Wait, hold on. Stop the music. In Egypt, what type of accommodations do they make for medical marijuana patients in Egypt?
I am not familiar at all.
No.
I didn't have time to spend 5 minutes because I foresaw a question like that coming, but I did not have time to actually look it up.
I'm always curious because I spoke to a guy from Turkey the other day. Remember Merit from Turkey?
Did he have both hands?
And Yeah, I'm always wondering, like, what are the laws in Turkey are very strict. They don't believe in medical marijuana at all in Turkey. They'll chop your hand off
That's
for that.
why. That's why. I
Yeah,
said that.
seriously. So I just wonder in Egypt, I know there's cannabis in Egypt. That's where a lot of cannabis came from. And I just wonder what they're. I'm sure there's progressives over there that feel cannabis is helpful. So
We'll see. I mean, Egypt kind of has the same problem in that they teeter between authoritarianism and theocracy.
Yeah.
Even the authoritarians are theocrats in their own way.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's plenty of alcohol in Egypt, in the hotels and stuff. So who's to say that with the right social, revolution, because people look at political revolution like it's going to solve their problems. Change happens at the social level. So maybe one day when there's a stronger society and education, maybe there'll be room for medical marijuana. Who knows?
Okay. I just had to ask that question. I had to stop the music for a second.
And I knew right where the song would be when you turned it back in. It was running in my head the whole time. You bastard, I'm not going to sleep tonight.
Here we go.
It's going to take cannabis to get that out of my
Here,
head.
sing with me. Magical butter makes your recipes better. That's what we do here in Jersey. Right, Jim?
We do.
Ready? Magical butter makes your recipes better.
Better.
Be dialing. Be touching that smartphone because...
What can you make?
At the touch of a button, you can enjoy great tasting healthy foods or make natural skincare products. Magical butter makes your recipes better.
Recipes for what, though?
Brownies, cookies, smoothies, sauces, soups, veggies, candies, salad dressings.
How about seafood?
Salad dressings.
Salad dressing.
No seafood?
Salad dressing.
Okay.
Marinades, meats.
Marinades, meats, beverages, lotions,
Yeah, like you can make
and
something
salves.
put on top
And
of steak.
much more. But wait, don't stop. Act
Fondue.
fast.
1-800-420-4334. 1-800-420-4334. Get your magical butter machine.
What's that number again?
1-800-420-4334. Get your magical butter machine from magicalbutter.com.
I didn't hear that number.
1-800-420-4334. That was horrible.
Yeah, that was.
Wait.
He gives these free to us.
1-800-420-4334. That's better.
That was much better. A lot better.
Let's try it again.
Go ahead. Go for it.
1-800-420-4334. 1-800-420-4334. Come on, they'll stay in your head.
No, I won't.
No?
I couldn't tell you right now.
Good night, Leo.
But I will always remember this.
Have the rest of your sunny day. I hope it's wonderful and sunny.
I understand this has a
And bright.
stainless
Yes.
steel bowl in it for
Very sunny.
making butter.
Yes, it does. I love this machine. I have brownies at my house that we made with the magical butter machine. Cannabis brownies. And no, Leo, you can't have any.
Why does nobody ever make oatmeal cookies? I mean, can I get a cupcake?
I got you next week.
Okay.
I'll bring you two next week. They were good, weren't they?
Yeah.
With the raspberries in there? Oh, come on. Oh.
Hold on.
Yeah, those raspberries
Hold on.
in the pot brownies.
Can I get a cupcake? I mean, keep in mind, I don't eat chocolate. I don't eat chocolate at all. Zero.
That's why I don't have a girlfriend.
Can I have yours then?
Wow. That was just wrong. Thank you for crushing me live on the air. Awesome. I'm glad the box is blocking my face. So that's just work. I'm just a voice right now.
Do you remember that time when you lifted up the box and William Haney's head was on the other side?
That was amazing.
Looked like he was under the box.
That was great. That was really
He'd
good.
lift it up and his head would be there. We could. Would that work with him?
So anyway, get your magical butter machine from Garen Angel.
And thank you, Garen, for donating them to us to give away because there is basically an endless supply of people who need it.
Yes.
And very, very grateful sick people when they find out how well it works. And it does. You know, it's a very easy thing to give a good review of. And
Yeah.
it is stainless steel inside and apparently fully automatic. Microprocessor controlled program sequences.
You press two buttons and a little while you have your oil and your butter, your tincture, whatever you want.
And I think in light of today, in light of Monday, actually,
That was a good
I think
day.
a special thanks should go out once again to the veterans.
Yes.
And all of them, everyone that has ever served in the military, We love you. Thank you.
And to those who show up because others can't, double credit. You know, I mean, can't thank somebody enough for doing that. I've always said that I don't think veterans should have to go overseas to fight for, and not just our rights, for their own rights too. To fight for their rights and then come back and have to do it again within your own country.
I don't understand why they got to go overseas, period. I mean, we are not being attacked on the homeland. Soldiers are to protect the homeland.
That's it.
You know what I mean? Going overseas really seems...
Oh, we could spend an hour on that one.
But we won't.
As a libertarian, I could spend an hour on that. Believe me.
Yeah, but that's not the remainder of what we're talking about.
I'm just saying. That never made sense to me. No. You know what I mean?
But that is the playing field, so that's the field we play on, and we better be good at it and know where we have an advantage. And this is an advantage we have right here. We exploit it.
The governor has to walk past us going to work every Thursday.
Well,
he has to walk right
one out of 3 times, he has had to go by us.
So it's a good thing.
I heard he might not be in the state today from my source at News 12 New Jersey.
Okay.
Oh, and watch tonight on New Jersey 12, News 12 New Jersey, whatever that might be, on your station at 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock. They will be showing the Sativa Cross Telling It Like It Is podcast setup.
Beautiful.
They're going to have some good video. I imagine an amazing interview with me. And, so tune in, and then later on as well. And for those who don't, I'm going to ram it down everybody's throat on Facebook. Damn it, this is the first time the news organization took a particular interest in our cones and our podcast and why we're here. So it only took how many? 51 podcasts to actually get a news organization to come here to see this. No, actually we didn't. They were already here. It's the first time somebody went back and got permission. Well, while we're there, this is podcast and cone. Go ahead and get coverage. They had to get the okay and did. So tenacity pays off.
I want to thank our other sponsors, medical-freedom.com.
You got it right.
you know I'm waiting to get these sponsors out. Yeah. I got the list in my head. Yeah. Of course I don't have it written down. It's in my head. Legalize for Lorelei. NewJerseyWeedman.com. CMMNJ.org, which is the Coalition for Medical Marijuana, which is the reason why we can sit across the street and smoke our cannabis. It's because of Jim Miller,
legally,
Ken Wolski, Cheryl Miller, and the rest of the coalition. Thank you so much. We love you guys.
Coalition for Medical Marijuana. You rock! Rock and roll! Oh, I'm sorry. It's too much MMR in my head, you know.
Yeah! SativaCross.com!
Yeah, you got to mention yourself.
Do it like that? Do we do it like that?
Yeah, make sure you give yourself a hat tip.
Get DavidVersusAutism.org.
Who? That's a new one on me. Who?
No, that's Nancy's son.
Oh, okay.
Nancy Cericcio. She's Jenny's friend from Hope.
Yeah. Okay.
Another kid that he won the magical butter machine last year, and she makes him his magical butter.
Awesome. Another success story. Good.
Yeah.
Tuffy.
Yes, Tuffy's fight. There's Jenna's journey. Jenny's Purple Ribbon Journey.
Jackson Storms.
JacksonStorms.com. That's right.
You need a list.
Oh, that's hurtful. That's just hurtful. At this point, that's hurtful.
Are you not sitting here thinking of them?
He's making some up.
There's so many. There's so many. I could make a list that would go on forever.
Yeah, it is true. At least if you don't have a list, somebody will think he must have forgot. But if he reads it off and you're not on it.
Forget it. Then it never ends. That list never ends.
Yeah.
We'll be here for the whole show doing
It's like
the
not
list.
getting a corsage when everybody else does, you know.
It's like, well, it's sad because on 9/11 they read all the names off. We could sit here literally for hours and read all the names off of the people that died waiting for medical marijuana.
No, I can imagine.
It's disgusting.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Absolutely disgusting what people have to go through in this state, what the hoops that they make us jump through.
This country, man.
Yeah.
Remember all PA's going through.
There's people who fought and died before it was legal, like Diane Repertella, who had ALS, and she would, her husband Joe would bring her here, and she would advocate from a position of pain.
Oh yeah.
And she did not survive long enough to see it legal in her lifetime.
Still waiting.
So we still, and This is why we need to make the bill better so there aren't other people who will die while it is law and still not serving them. We cannot let that happen.
And you got refugees like Jackson Storms, Vivian Wilson, Sarah Estrella, Claudia, Diane.
Dan Formbacher, yeah.
And the rest of the people that are still waiting, like Sabina Rose.
With Diane, she has post-traumatic stress, and suffice to say, it's a reason that most veterans would never trade positions with to know what it would be like. That being said, she is not going to be coming back with her family, and this is really the kind of families you want in your state. They give as much as they take and more. It's exactly what you want for your financial base. You don't want people, as Governor Christie says, voting with their feet, meaning leaving the state because they can't deal with what's going on here. They're not going to come back. So some of these people are lost forever. And I will always resent that because she's considered Cheryl's adopted, my late wife's adopted daughter, metaphorically speaking. But she lost her mother and Cheryl lost her daughter. And they were fit, and now I don't get to see her anymore. And I don't like that. I miss her. And I miss Terry, and I miss Jack and Charlie. She moved so she wouldn't lose her kids for treating herself. She moved to protect herself from Division of Youth and Family Services, giving a crap whether she talks about hemp to her kids. Yeah. But for others who will not have to move, hopefully it will have a balancing effect.
Before I get to the names, I want to give a shout out to Tony Liberty. Tony Liberty. He donated $120 towards the podcast.
No way. Tony, way to step up, man, because that is huge.
Yeah.
The coalition has really not the kind of money to fully fund much of anything. And I personally give when I can myself. So stepping up and doing that ensures that Lefty gets to keep things going.
Yeah, that's huge, man.
And he can't be spending his own money when you have a wife or a significant other of any kind. She does have a say and should have a say.
Okay, and that was your $6? Was that the coalition $6 or your $6? Okay, so the coalition put in $6. Do you feel bad now that Tony Liberty gave 120 and the coalition only gave 6? Does that make you feel bad?
No, that was.
I'm only kidding. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
That was 6.
No, I'm serious. That's huge. So a lady came by.
Not our first donation though.
A sick woman came by in a walker a couple weeks ago and gave us $5.
Yep.
I mean, it's like it breaks my heart to see but. Man.
But it also to know
that
this podcast does have the support and people understand that it does cost for the remote hotspot, and it costs you to get here and back, and it costs you in equipment, upkeep, and repair.
Oh yeah.
When we need something, and when people say you do this on a shoestring budget, we wish we had a shoestring sometimes. You mean people have shoestrings? A picture of us one time. I forget what you were trying to fix the remote mic with.
Oh, tape. Oh, God. Yeah,
tape
that
or
and
gum or something.
And the amplifier when it broke. We had the amplifier apart. We're trying to fix the amplifier. Oh, God.
Yeah, it was.
Do what we can here with what we have to work with.
Little even microphones that when they start to droop, you follow them down.
It's terrible.
But the podcast itself, I must say, let's give ourselves credit. We've tightened things up from last year.
Yeah.
And we still have fun, but we're pretty topical and hopefully informative when people need that information.
Yes. Thanks for listening. We'll be back on Monday. Big ups to all of the people out there listening, all the patients that are listening.
You know what I just realized? You two are like the cliche radio hosts. I never put it together, but you got the one really like seems like smart.
That's cliche. I'm just shut off your mic. How's that for cliche? How you like that?
No, I know what he's saying. You know what?
I disagree.
Don, I got to say, I think you're right, and I think what makes good co-hosts is we are not identical by any stretch of the imagination. He goes left where I go right. I go right where he goes left sometimes, but where we go the same direction,
Look out.
Yeah, and people can believe what we say because we don't yes each other, and we have an unspoken rule
Systems
that
and
when
balances.
he asks me a question or I ask him a question, the answer never starts with why would you ask that or anything. It's an answer. And we do each other that decency that it doesn't matter what he says. I'll answer it, and then I'll explain why I don't think he should have asked it, maybe, but it always comes with the answer. We want people to trust what we say is true because they get too little of that in the discussion from most every other juncture. And also, great to have libertarian representation today because you can believe what they say about this issue as well. There's no fooling around in them about this issue at all. And they are leaders rather than followers when it comes to cannabis-related issues. So,
y'all balance each other out well, though. I will say that y'all balance each other out really well.
Thank you, Donald.
Lefty is a special type of guy.
You know,
shut your mic off again.
It's if anybody watches MMR in the morning, and having been in there and met the crew while Cheech and Chong was on.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Now
So
I
cool.
get to picture them, and I must say that Lefty is Steve. And I would probably be Preston, you know.
Okay.
In other words, like he can be going left where people are knowing, well, Jim's not really going to like that, but I kind of do a little, you know, and I kind of fluctuate. But it's what moves things, you know, as opposed to, yeah, I know what you mean. I agree. Oh, me too.
Now,
Me
you know
too.
what moves
Everybody
me?
agree? All say aye?
You know what moves me? This next list. I hate this next list.
I wish someone moved you in front of a truck.
Here we go.
This next list, as much as I want to laugh, this next list sucks.
It sucks for both of us every day we do this.
It almost brings tears to my eyes occasionally because I think of my own struggles and issues.
I've gotten past that point.
Yeah, it's just rough.
The brief explanation, as I've gotten briefer and briefer each week, is after World War I, there was something written called Ode to Remembrance in honor and memory of those fallen in World War I. There was English variation and Australian variation, obviously some American bastardization because that's what we do. And there's 5 verses, and Lefty recited the 4th verse one time, part of the 4th verse, and we've ended the show with it, only to come to find out at the last show of last year that this is literally written in stone at the War Memorial over a doorway entry, and we did not know that two lots away, this is what they put on the War Memorial. We find that it applies to medical marijuana patients
Big time.
fighting a war of their own.
Big time.
And for them, while the Vietnam War was not very popular here and soldiers came back to disdain, for a long time it was like that with medical marijuana, and I would see it with Cheryl all the time, a certain disrespect just because of the issue. So starting at a deficit of being sick, starting at a deficit of all sorts of baggage that should not be yours, they endured. They endured till they died.
Like William Haney's mom, Joan Ford. She's waiting for medical cannabis. She died waiting for her cannabis. Sabina Rose, a 15-month-old baby, had a 25-hour seizure, still waiting for her medical cannabis. She died.
Cheryl died waiting for her legal medical cannabis. She never waited for it at all if I could help it. And but she wouldn't have to look over her shoulder. Well, actually, she couldn't because she couldn't move her head anything but her head. She couldn't turn around. So I don't know what metaphor to use, but yeah. But that at least we knew going in, as Cheryl used to say, and I read this in an Associated Press version interview of her, where I did not stay around to hear the questions. She said, yeah, it's too late for me. My body's wasting away. I'm a prisoner in my own body, and there's nothing I can do about it. But there's a lot of other Cheryl and Jims out there who still have more time, and we need to do this for them.
She fought for others.
She did.
She knew that she would never see legal medical marijuana in her lifetime, but she knew that other people would, and she kept fighting.
In the dark ages, the early 1990s, beginning then.
Yeah.
Tough. But.
And my friend Chad, who died of brain cancer, he could not get the oil he needed 2 years ago when he was diagnosed. His mom had to fend for herself to get him the oil she needed. Chad's father killed himself when Chad got the diagnosis, so Chad's mom had to do it all by herself without the help of a dispensary. And he died last month. He lost his battle. And he's still waiting.
And we're still here.
Marie from Pennsylvania, Gracie from Pennsylvania, Cindy May.
Diane Ripatello.
This is for you guys. They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. We will remember them.